Hello folks and welcome back to the MCP Majors Season 3. It is week 2, day 3. That is right, we are practically at the halfway mark of the competition and things are getting extremely intense as our teams are going to be playing their final round in their groups before we go for the Grand Shuffle. But before we speak about the Grand Shuffle, I also have to introduce my wonderful casters for today. Mustachio AJ from yesterday, and we've got a new face on the panel. We have Beef Mommy from the Tagalog stream. Hi Beef!
Yeah, I mean, I crossed over, so I kind of have to get used to speaking in English straight now, which honestly, I kind of prefer because I do miss you, Danny and AJ, but it's really good to be back.
AJ, are you excited to cast with Beef Mommy again? When was the last time that you two actually casted together?
Not too long ago, but you know, we most definitely miss each other whenever we're not on the same panel. But here's the thing, right? Today is going to be one bombastic of a day because it's the final day for all of these teams to pick up the points after they've managed to adjust to each other's drop zones, each other's play styles, because once the shuffle always happens, Daddy, the leaderboards usually get shuffled up too.
Absolutely. I think we've seen this at practically every MCP major. We haven't seen one team just sort of cruise through the entire league stage and be like, oh, we don't care who the competition is. It's a pretty significant change for not just us, but also the teams. But it's also exciting because we do see how teams adjust to their new groups. And you can tell that some teams are amazing at adjusting, and then you have others that are a little bit slow to get a little bit slow from the change. But Beef, I'm going to direct this question to you actually. Who do you think is going to suffer the most from the change? Because we do have some teams that look pretty happy in their groups. If anything, you'd want to stay there. Who do you think is going to be like, who doesn't want to leave basically?
Then honestly, I feel like the spotlight is everyone else below the second placer. So Geek Fam Blacklist International, they definitely been consistent in terms of the gunfights, the kills, and that's why they're up on top. But honestly, it's everyone else in the bottom. Do Easy, I think, will probably have a very hard time adjusting because they haven't been taking a lot of the gunfights pretty well. So consistency for them is definitely really important.
Well, taking a look at how the groups are, right? So from what we have seen, in the matchups of A versus B, it tends to be a basically Geek Fam thrashing that group, right?
Yeah.
But then when it comes to B versus C, then the tides change and we really start to see those teams in C put the pedal to the metal onto Geek Fam. But then once you have a bit of a switcheroo again and you have A versus C, it seems like the competition is even. So with that in mind, I mean, what team, or what group do you think has the most diversity when it comes to playing against these groups? And when I mean diversity, I mean like they've played every single possible style. I'll start with AJ.
Well, I really feel like that would be Group C, right? Because you
Group
see
C.
Blacklist as well as Do Easy really trashing some of these other teams with their consistency. And it's not like Vete Esports and teams like Ego Oblivions are dropping way too far back. They're still in the top 12. And it's very close if you look between the 5th rank all the way down to the 12th. Every single day, though, it keeps shuffling back and forth because of how close those teams are together to each other, Danley.
I actually would have to agree as well. I was thinking that it seems like Group C have been able to take all the matchups rather well compared to the other groups where they do have their ups and downs.
Except Ethical Index, but yeah.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But here's the maps for today. So we're going to be playing on Kalahari and Purgatory, our bigger maps, as we do retire Bermuda temporarily, or at least until next week. Now, here are the point systems for any of our viewers that aren't quite sure how these teams are getting their points for the leaderboard. If you manage to secure the Booyah, you'll be able to pick up 12 points for your team. If you come in second place, you'll get 9. If you're third, you get 8. And then as you go down, you get less and less points up until 11th and 12th, where unfortunately you're going to end the round with 0. But you can offset these points with kills, with each kill equating to 1 point. And we've seen this be very important for some of these teams to not only snatch away first place for a round, but also compensate for potentially dropping out very early in a round. So, folks, take a look at these groups. These groups are not going to be the same next week. This is the final time that all these teams are playing together in their groups before the Great Shuffle happens. Group A, Group B, Group C. And so far the consensus is that Group C, we don't really think that these teams in this group are going to suffer. B and A maybe a little bit more, but the Great Shuffling, it does a lot of things, and one thing in particular is it is very good at surprising. Not surprising though is that we also have a league stage prize pool. So these teams, they're still playing for something. It's not just this money, but on top of this, if these teams make it to the top 12 of this league stage, they'll qualify for the grand final. And the grand final has a separate prize pool, which has even more money. And when I mean more money, by a lot more. So, of course, these teams are vying for that top 12 placing in the league stage. But then, of course, over there, they even have a bigger prize as well. It's not just the grand prize in terms of money, but also slots, direct invites to some of these upcoming Free Fire tournaments. So it'll be very exciting. I'm still really looking forward to it. And we're getting really close. We're halfway there to the grand finals.
Yeah.
I need to calm down. My coffee started kicking. I'm just like, grand final. No, it's not there yet. So
Hyperventilating.
Next step is the World Series, right, Danley? So each and every single team, they really need to go out there. They need to hustle. They need proof that they deserve a spot at the Free Fire World Series. Who exactly is that going to be? GeekFam and Blacklist International, the winners of MCP Major Season 1 and Season 2, currently running the leaderboards.
Yeah, so these are the heavy hitters and at least the teams that you should be looking out for. So GeekFam and Blacklist, long-time team. If you've been watching the Free Fire esports for as long as we have, these teams are going to be very, very familiar to you. This season though, so we do have a couple of rising teams that are showing a lot of promise. So of course, Do Easy, it's a team that's been around for a long time as well. They do run a little hot and cold, but I think this weekend they've been a little warmer. Not quite hot yet, but they've been picking up that consistency, which is most important for this team. Toadek's been picking it up, which is surprising. Hard to Get's also rising. And I want to give a quick mention to Overdose Esports and E-Wolves. I think these two teams have really stepped it up, considering Overdose is a brand new team, and E-Wolves, they've been around for a while. And before this, they were sort of just a middle of the pack team, right? Nothing outstanding, nothing amazing, but now these guys are starting to turn into a major threat. But let's divert our eyes to the bottom of the bracket here, to the 12th placing, because this is the cutoff, essentially, for these teams. The race down here is really close. So Icon are currently occupying 12th place with 153 points, but they are tied with Umbrella Reborn. And not far from them, they also have Script Shots to worry about and Orange Esports. So you've essentially got 4 teams down here that can potentially snap away this 12th spot. And you could even argue that 11th spot is very vulnerable. So just looking at those teams, right? Let's take a look at that bottom section of the bracket, because we do know that's the most important one right now. Who do you think of those 4 teams has the best chance of actually making it to top 12?
Umbrella Reborn as well as Script Shots, they most definitely have proven themselves, but it's just a little too early to tell, Danny. I mean, we are just at the halfway point. The great shuffle is going to happen all over again, and perhaps at the end of week 3, we should be able to tell for sure, because if you look at teams like Tactical Intex and WTG Expert, they are about 60 plus points away from the 12th spot, which one great day of Free Fire can most definitely fix. But of course, they have to find that within themselves, and from our experience casting so many of these Free Fire competitions, it's not an impossible task at all.
Speaking of a great day of Free Fire, if you divert your eyes to the bottom of the screen, we just very quickly want to remind all of you that there's going to be a giveaway happening later on. We'll be revealing a code for all of you to claim those beautiful 2 Violet Terror gun boxes, not just for yourself, but also your friends, your family, as this code can be claimed by everybody. It's not come first serve. This is for everyone to claim for a short period of time. Unfortunately, the code's going to expire, so if you want to try and hog them all, that ain't gonna work. They will unfortunately be invalid. So if you want to claim them, make sure you claim them right now. But I want to ask Beef actually that question that we had just now, right? Just looking at those bottom 4. Let's just sort of imagine that the great shuffling, we know what's going to happen, right? But let's ignore all of that. Just out of performance from these 4 teams, who do you actually think is going to be consistent enough to actually be able to make it to that top 12?
I mean, honestly, Umbrella Reborn and Script Shots look so solid for week number 2. And yes, maybe there have been a little bit of struggle going into week number 1, but it really seems like they can put on the aggression and taking out top teams like Blacklist International all on their own. So for me, I think like a really important play for Umbrella Reborn being so close to the top 12, that's going to give them a little bit more fire to try to get a lot more points up against Icon.
And fun fact, guys, WTG Expert as well as Tactical Intex, sitting down in the 17 and 18 spot, are the only teams who have not picked up a booyah so far.
Ooh, are you trying to Are you trying to foretell something?
Yes, ma'am.
Pressure.
That it is still a possibility. They still can make a comeback, but they just have to find it within themselves, Danny.
They could. So it looks like we're going to be jumping into our first map of the day, ladies and gentlemen, and I do believe it's on my favorite map. It's on Kalahari for groups A versus B. I'm going to pass it over to my wonderful casters, AJ and Beef Mommy. Please take it away for our first game.
Thank you so much, Danny. Beef Mommy, welcome back. We are most definitely going to have some fun in here today. This is going to be match number 1, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, between Group A as well as B for week 2, day number 3. The final day before we go in there for the Great Shuffle, and all of the teams who have already gotten comfortable so far, Beef, just need to go out there and hyper-focus on picking up as many points as possible, as you never know what awaits you next week.
The Great Shuffle. It's just really a really good phrase that looms right ahead of these teams, because I feel like they've been comfortable. Group A and B, they always have like a little bit of a struggle, especially if they go up against Group C. And now the Great Shuffle will definitely change things up and will make the tournament just a little bit more interesting. Now we're starting things off here in Kalahari. You already know Refinery is always going to be that hot spot, but it does seem like Overdose Esports wants to have a hold of that.
And this is the beauty of, just getting comfortable within the map in itself, right? You see no early engagements here because all of the teams have already gone off. No more ego challenges anymore. They all pick a spot for themselves. And now the players of AKO, a few of the shots hard to get from afar. Boy, wow, will be taken out of the equation so quickly.
That's going to be very hard for AKO Ligers that have been sitting down to the 16th spot. They went down 2 spots coming in from week number 1. And we already know them as very strong teams, just like their brothers from the Philippines that have really performed well. They were basically fighting for that top 1 spot. So now we are heading into a very early game. And surprisingly for Kalahari, they're really early engagements.
I have no idea what is up with AKO Ligers. I mean, this is not the usual AKO Ligers that we know. I mean, back at the FFCP, they were able to climb up to the number 1 spot within the group stages. At the grand finals, yes, they did falter just a little bit, but they still were second place. But at the MCP Major Season 3, they just can't seem to find their stride just yet, Beef.
And I feel like it's not just them. Beta Esports also having a hard time in week 1, but slowly and surely into the last few matches of day number 2, they were finally to pick up 1 Booyah and eventually launch them to that 8th spot. That's a really big jump. I think they were 14th place, really starting into week 2, and now taking a look at a lot of the gunfights here. But now, again, hard to get. Taking a lot of the shots going into the building over here. Tries to get 1 more Shadow, previously known as Batman.
And now it's the opportunity for them to go and finish this off. But WTG wants to get involved in this fight as well. Preen from the long shot. Insane taken out of the equation already. The perfect third party that AKO now needs to survive and back away so that they can bring Jaboywa right back into the play. And look at hard to get. They want no piece of this. They back away from this compound. Confinement will belong to AKO as long as they stay put.
WTG applying that pressure already, so that's a really good start and a really good play from H2G to try to go and back away from the situation, knowing very well 1 kill is well enough for them. And now H2G though, as slowly as they are going away, I feel like they're still going to be repositioning themselves, trying to pick up the pieces between the fight between AKO Ligers and WTG.
Now, Dobie, he has got the flank bird's eye view. Players of AKO can launch an attack right now, and the ambush needs to be perfect. But Preen finds him just with the UMP. Long range, not really exactly what this gun is made for, but with that scope, Dobie will be in a lot of trouble. He keeps his head down. No headshots for Preen just yet, but he will continue keeping an eye on to Dobie. Dobie with the bird's eye view plays a lot of risk as well with this position, Beef.
Now, a really good position right now. Toby Cuties having a really good vantage point up in this tower. Jaboywa is already going to be revived, so that's going to be good for his team. It's going to be a full stack for them. But now the push needs to come through. WTG needs to make and go a play, especially knowing very well Jaboywa and Toby Cuties is right there. Really good positioning.
No name. WTG. This is the standoff between these two squads. WTG initially came through and they saved AKO. And now AKO just want to return the favor in the best way possible in Free Fire competitions, shooting them down, sending them back to the lobby so that they don't have to tire out their fingers. Let's see if or not they will be able to do that. But from afar, look here, Geek Fam, they slowly approach this situation. And the players of Hard to Get, they haven't really backed away just yet. Dobie once again catches them with the bird's eye view, gets the information, sends it back to the rest of the players of AKO. Are they going to go in here for the chase as Spreen still continues to keep an eye onto Dobie? One wrong move and Dobie's done so right up there.
And right up there, taking a lot of these shots. And what are you going to do if you're WTG when you know that AKO Lakers has a really good vantage point? Both of these teams, 16th and 17th spot, and now the pressure is on them. And obviously, AKO Lakers having the one total booyah is definitely going to be very important for them. WTG Expert still has 0.
Now, H2G, they can execute their revenge as WTG slowly approaches their compound, being chased away by the players of AKO. What a anticlimactic end to that standoff, but it doesn't really matter as long as they can stay away from each other. This Kalahari is just gonna get even crazier when we reach that 9-minute mark, as all of these teams now closer together in this pretty much small map in comparison to Bermuda or Purgatory. Let's see exactly what they'll be able to do now away from the players of H2G. Straight away into the hands of Geek Fam. Let's see if or not Santa Catarina will be the stronghold of the players of Geek Fam. And if or not anybody will come in here to tickle them to see if or not they can ignite some sort of a response. The players of Geek Fam, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, will not be backing away anywhere just yet. We're going to give Beef Mommy a couple of seconds to reconnect. Bear with us as...
Oh, no, I'm still here, but it's
there
okay.
you
You know
go.
what? I can look at the map and try to figure out what kind of play we can finally go and get. Unfortunately, I won't be seeing a lot of the action lifetime, but it's okay. And now the circle is going to be closing in, and Umbrella Reborn needs to go and push into the circle. TDK, on the other hand, they still need to find a lot of the weapons already going into Foundation. That's going to be a really good spot for Overdrive, as they are really well positioned going into Refinery.
Hampton pulls Umbrella Reborn. They need to take those vehicles and back out of here. I mean, this is something that we don't really see all the time. Vehicle usage, this many all the way in Kalahari. Because of the terrain, it just gets a little bit tricky to maneuver around. But as all of these players pick a vehicle up for themselves, Umbrella Reborn, they can continue to tease this blue zone and stay out of it and complete their looting process, and then later on reposition themselves. So a little bit of a waste of time outside, but they're not going to be punished way too much with it, unless of course on the re-entry towards the safe zone later on they get caught out by the players of Orange Esports or Toda, which, you know, inevitably they have to run past.
Yeah, running past is like something that's going to be very hard here, especially if you are going to be going into a very intense matchup. And now, Geek Fam, WTG, H2G, and Bloody Heads are all going to be going into a really nice mix, a really nice, very deadly cocktail. And who's going to be coming out on top? Who is going to make a very dire decision to go and push, or do you want to disengage? I feel like right now, the smartest thing to do for H2G, stay put, because they can basically back off in a pretty good way. Now, for Bloody Heads, though, they need to go and make a decision. Do they want to push, or are they going to be staying here?
This is a pressure cooker situation. 48 players came into this game. 48 players still alive at the close to the 8-minute mark. Like I said, when we reach that 9th minute, all chaos is about to erupt, and it's just gonna be an insane fight. 3-way, 4-way parties, you know exactly what it's gonna be, as each and every single one of these teams now playing the game of survival, trying to rotate from compound to compound, making sure they do not get caught out. Overdose, they do not have the elevation on them, but those zip lines can most definitely change that in a couple of seconds. One of the main things that you really need to focus on at Kalahari is picking up those grappling hooks, because it can mean the difference between life and death, Beef.
Oh yeah, definitely. Grappling hooks really are essential to a very aggressive push going into a building, because essentially you can get on top, sandwich them from top and bottom, and eventually get a lot of these kills. And now H2G needs to find a way, as they are going to be inside of the building, taking a lot of these shots. TDK doing a really good job. Todak Esports doing a great job being and basically getting 5th place, but they definitely want to be higher than that.
9th minute mark. 48 players still alive and kicking. chaos at our doors, knocking hard already. Who's gonna be the first team to fall? AKO. They play the edge of the next safe zone very early with the rotations on in, but this is not a very easy place to hold onto. The terrain doesn't really give you all that too much of cover. So AKO, although they play the edge of the zone and although this rotation is solid, they need to find themselves a compound so they can prepare for a battle, because they have to understand, they have to know that not many of those engagements have been going on. Jace now has got the McLaren on him as he speeds on through. Onto his left, the players of Icon. Right in front of him, Geek Fam. Who is gonna take the initial shots? Jace, if he does jump out of the vehicle, he has to charge Buster in hand. Can respond instantaneously to those challenges, but straight up drives into command post. And looky here, we do not see the players of Bloody Head holding on to it. As I say that, look at Bloody Heads just beyond command post, a spot where they usually like to call their home beef.
Oh yeah, they really are comfortable in this specific spot, and they're holding up pretty well, if you can ask me. And now Orange Esports, they are at a pretty great position going into Refiner. Not only can they go and gatekeep hard to get, but also have a really good sightline as to all of the teams that are trying to push in from the southeastern side of the map. And now it's a good thing though, because Bloody Heads is right there to go and help them. And H2G seems like they're going to be in a tricky spot.
We are used to droughts at Kalahari, but a drought in engagements, not something we're all used to. Kaloy with the initial shot onto Shadow. Is he gonna get taken down here? Is he gonna make the total number of players down to 47? We have to wait and see, and it looks like that's not gonna be possible. Bloody Heads don't get that enough, but here comes WTG with the ambush. No setup just yet, no grenades to open things up. Kionsla steps on in. SSZ, they return fire. Parents with the headshot, and it is the players of Script Shots now asking WTG to return back to the lobby as they knock them all down. That was a total fail in terms of an ambush. No grenades, no utilities, no lethals used to their favor at all, Beef.
Yeah, it's not going to be into their favor at all. And now you can see all of these teams trying to go and push in just slowly and surely. Very little. You can see the push coming through. Mark, very famous sniper for Bloody Heads, tries to go and take a lot of these shots. They're at a really good position to take down two. But then in the name of AKO Ligers, one more player comes into the mix as they go and fly into the middle of the circle.
That's a terrible place to fly on into, because not only is it in the middle of the circle, but it's also in the middle of 3 different squads. Make that 4 as Geek Fam now drop by as well. Eastern Wolves gang aiming for the heads of AKO already. Bloody Heads try to chip in and get a few shots. Jace knocked down onto the ground. Exec drops in with a charge buster. Return fire from Tua. Ajab helps him out. Man04 down on the ground, but not taken out of the equation just yet. And this is that pandemonium now that is about to strike all of these teams as they play passive. They are just raising that pressure even further up in this cooker beef.
It's such a good last circle though, because you have so much compounds where you can go and hide. So a lot of teams just need to pick which house do you want to go and engage in. You have so many different fights happening all at once. And now taking a look at Script Shots at the moment, having 4 kills to their name. It's all Perrin. All of the kills coming from this one man, and he can definitely take a lot more. And now pushing into the compound at the moment, it's going to be very hard as H2G tries to struggle and try to get a lot of these kills. But with the glue walls up in there, that's the only way that they can go and defend themselves.
Yeah, have to get in quite a great compound here. Script Shots right beyond them. Insane down onto the ground already. All thanks to Beta and his auto shotgun. Can Beta now respond even further as Jay-Z comes in for the challenge? Aries helps him out. Jay-Z manages to get Shahin. Players from Script Shots now really hurting. Can hard to get finish this off. One more shot, but what a return fire by Shadow. Pops out the grenade launcher, and the players of Hard to Get now hurting just a little bit. Shadow has a grenade launcher of his own that he was unable to play, but if he gets picked right back up, it's not going to be too much of an issue for them. Eastern Wolves gang just rounding up the players of Geek Fam, and they have not been able to fire at them just yet. Geek Fam, on the other hand, glue walls and this tend to work with not a lot. They have to start moving now towards the next safe zone. The blue zone now gonna chase them little by little. What a nade by Monito to knock down Fikri onto the ground, but there's no finisher just yet. One more though can get the job done, but an early pickup from the side of Geek Fam ensures that survivability.
There's still 10 teams left in the mix, but then there's still so many engagements left, right, and center. Monito trying to get a lot of these shots. Kaizen goes down, and unfortunately for him, Monito's the only person left in his team that can go and make a difference. Take a look at the map, man. Taking a look at all of the multiple gunfights and engagements that we can see over here, just because of how crazy the final circle is. If you're one of these teams, you can try to go and take advantage of this craziness and go up into that ledge, going up to that rock, and try to go into the safety. AKO Ligers, done, dusted. They're going to be out of this game at the moment.
Oh, this is just absolute insanity right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The way things are breaking down, a lot of these players, a lot of the teams towards the southeast part of the map, nobody, absolutely nobody towards the northwest, and that's just going to give the players of Toda the opportunity. Umbrella Reborn taken out of the equation. Pedro going in for the finisher. Team Toda, 2 kills in hand so far, but Overdose right above them. Charge Buster in his hands. Pedro steps on up with the Mag 7 as well. Auto shotgun, but they need to play this careful. Finds the players right there in front of them as they go in for the finisher. Toda on for the slay. Make that 3 kills now, and no one's able to stand up to them. Overdose jumping out of the window, trying to play the game of survival. Chill, glue wall after glue wall, and the players of Overdose refuse to go down.
Down, down, they will not go. And now Icon says bye-bye to the competition as well. And now Todak, there you go. Overdose eliminated so early on. 5 teams still left, and it's already been 15 minutes. But taking a look at the beautiful positioning of Orange Esports at the moment, because you can see everything is in their sightline at the moment. And now Ames taking aim from his very lovely sniper. How will they perform, knowing very well that Orange Esports is going to be right above them? Esports, that is the name of the game here. That's the reason why we love playing this game, because how exciting everything will be. But now, Eastern Wolves already out of the mix, and now 4 teams left here. 15 minutes already ongoing.
Shanks now building an igloo for himself with those glue walls, aims down onto the ground. Spark with a beautiful charge buster shot, charging it up once again inside the time turner, but we switch on over to Toda, who challenges the players of Orange Esports from afar. Shanks on the ground. Maute, the final option for the players of Bloody Head. But look at the zone now, closing on in. Glue wall can't help him out. The backstab coming through from the players of Toda. Manages to catch one, but Chill turns around with a Mag 7 and snuffs him out. Toda still on fire. 8 kills in here so far. H2G right in front of them, and just beyond them with the elevation point stands the players of Orange Esports. They've got the best position right now, B.
Yeah, absolutely. And taking a look at the map a while ago, we already knew they definitely have the prime position to take out every single one of these teams. All they need to do, play for picks, try to put on as much glue walls as you can, and you already know they have a ton of glue walls. And now, TDK Spark going down. One more person left here. There's going to be 3 teams left, 16 minutes on the clock, and it's going to be very difficult because Orange Esports, it's a really good position to win.
Yeah, Tom really just can't find his aim, but Decals, on the other hand, nails it. Insane gets spotted, glue wall down. Orange Esports secures the first booyah of the day.
The moment we saw them up in that rock, up in that ridge, it's basically game over, because everyone was in the southeastern side of the map where they thought that the circle was going to be in that compound, but no. It just seems like Orange Esports really waiting patiently for everyone to go and try to take on each other. That is probably one of the smartest plays that we've seen here so far.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And you know, from what we noticed earlier on, it was all of those players who were just jumping on in towards the southeast part of the map. The northwest part of it, on the other hand, directly opposite, had close to no teams at all. And Orange Esports, spotting that all of the action was just focused on just one quadrant of the map, immediately makes those early rotations, and those early rotations prove to be exactly what was required for the survival. And you really want to play the vertical advantage at Kalahari, which they executed to perfection. Game number 1 was taken with confidence, and Orange Esports might just be on the road to a comeback here.
Oh yeah, most definitely. They are at the 15th spot at the moment, and just right above them is going to be Script Shots with not like 1 point is the difference between them. And I'm pretty sure after this really important win, that will boost them up, and that's going to be very hard. They're one of the teams that we were kind of rooting for, the 4 teams that really want to break through into that top 12. And what a way to start off day number 3 in week 2 here, AJ.
Yeah, you say 1 point away from Script Shots, but just 10 points away from the 12th spot. And with this booyah, the booyah alone giving them more than enough points to catch up with the 12th position. Orange Esports most definitely in a great spot right now, but they just have to find the consistency within themselves, right? They are striking quite late within the competition, literally on the final day before we go in there for the shuffle, which is basically the halfway point. But it's not too late at the very same time if they can keep this up. They just slayed the players of Toda with such ease, and albeit they had the better positioning, but it was the mechanical capabilities of these players at the end to keep so much of pressure on them, Beef.
Yeah, I mean, the RNG gods are definitely going to be in their favor, but obviously, someone that we know here has definitely been taking an eye. And Denelli, what did you think about that matchup?
No, I think that was just a perfect way to end it for Orange. Like, there's literally no reason to stick your nose into somebody's business, right? Just let everyone else just battle it out in that bottom right-hand quadrant. And same thing with Hard to Get, right? Like, Hard to Get was just hiding under that cliffside, so even Orange didn't really know where they were until that last second. So I think, if anything, I think AJ was spot on with this, right? It's the final day before the major swap-ups. If there's a good time to earn points, it is now, right? You know how these teams play. You know your groupings. So if anything, just play it safe, get those points. And AJ, 10 points. So I did the calculations. You already did it right. So 10 points to overtake Icon. So easily they would have overtaken that 12th spot. But how much higher would they have gone? Because I didn't actually get to see how many kills they ended the round with.
I think by the time they were taken on Toda, they were already up by 6 kills. So it should be a minimum of 9 kills overall.
9 kills.
Yeah, minimum.
So with that in mind, then they could actually make a pretty big jump up until, I even want to say, 9th.
Yeah.
Which is massive for this team, considering that the position that they've been in all tournament, right? All tournament, this team has been... They didn't start on the bottom. I think that's the thing, but they've been towards the bottom for the majority of the tournament. So 21 points to Orange Esports' name, which firstly, they got their first booyah yesterday, which was already good news. Then they start off today with another booyah. Could be secret strats.
I think it's absolutely solid. But don't you think it's just a little too late, though, to kind of be making this comeback? Albeit, yes, we've got the second half of the competition to go. But once you shake things up, you just never know exactly what the gods of RNG have for you. And for all you know, RNG Esports can just be thrown into the group of death next.
Yeah, it could be. I think at this point, it's like until you know what group you're in, you're just like... YOLO, right? Like just quite literally only one chance. So if anything, I'm really happy for Orange because there were firstly a lot of expectations from us to see Orange perform, and I'm glad that they are showing that they have something for us, right? But the real question is, are they going to be able to consistently play like this? We'll only be able to find out over the course of the next couple of weeks. But very quickly, let's take a look at our MVPs for this round. And we've got Goku sitting in first place here, MVP with 4 kills to his name and 2,717 damage. Got Shanks actually in second place from Bloody Head. Then we have Perrin from Script Shots, and then finally Spark from Todak. So not really any players hogging the kills this round. It's been pretty even across the board, but I mean, considering the literal bloodbath that we saw, which was that second last circle, I just not surprised that there were a lot of kills sort of going all over the place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with the gun choices here for all of them to pick up as well, we can see, just continuing the conversation from yesterday, it's not just those long-range combat ability, but it really depends on the map, right? Kalahari, you want to have the viability with those CQCs, the Charge Buster as well as the M1887, just truly the weapon of choice for a lot of these players. With the double barrel, you get those shots with the Charge Buster as well, but both of these shotguns require so much of mechanical capability to control. Charge Buster, you overcharge it, it goes in for a reset, you don't really get the damage out of it. Double barrel shotgun, you miss a shot, you're toast, Beef.
Oh yeah, I mean the Charge Buster in the Tagalog stream, we call it the ray gun because of how well, and the sound is really freaking cool, okay? I mean, not only does it look cool, but if you use it well, you made a really good point there. Like, you need to have a really good mechanical skill. You need to know the timing of the weapon in order to use it really, really good.
Well, I mean, we are looking at some of the best players in the region, so I think it's completely understandable to see why there's so many players actually able to master this. But that's just our first game. We're not even halfway through the day. We're literally just into game 1. We're about to jump into game 2 in just a moment. I'm just wondering what's really going to be what's going to happen today, right? Is it just going to be a case of the underdogs again, like we've been seeing the past couple days, or are we going to see these big dogs sort of bite back? Because there is also a race towards the top of the charts, right? Which is Geek Fam and Blacklist. Blacklist will play a little bit later on, but you know, Geek Fam, they gotta keep that lead going.
Yeah, I mean, they only have a 7-point lead on the players of Blacklist International when we first started the day. And now with that lackluster performance on map number 1, they really have to find the momentum because remember, it is against Group A that they can find all of those major kills. And based on the first match, it just doesn't seem to be that way today. They have got one more opportunity in here, or else it's going to be Blacklist climbing up the leaderboard again to the number 1 spot.
I mean, that's what we thought yesterday, right? At the very ending, we were just like, oh yeah, Blacklist can take that spot from Geek Fam. It's just 20 points away. And then after 2 rounds, it's like, ooh.
Nope.
But we'll see.
They got close, though.
They did get close, yeah. I mean, they can prove us wrong. We're going to jump into our second game right here. So I'm going to leave it you two to sort of discuss what you think is going to be happening on this matchup. So Beef Mommy and AJ, take it away as we drop into our second map.
Ooh, that's going to be a very spicy next matchup because we saw, like what you guys mentioned, Geek Fam went up to like the 8th place into that last matchup. That is very unlike them. And now that's a really good sign for all of the teams that are trying to climb up into the ranks. And now we are starting things in Purgatory, really huge map. You need to go and find and cover, get a vehicle, get that information on, and eventually maybe you will take the crown just like what Orange Esports did in Kalahari.
Yeah, let's see if or not that is the way things will end this time round as well. The underdogs really, putting on a show earlier on, but this time through at Purgatory, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the biggest map available here at Free Fire. Let's see exactly who gets taken down first. Theoretically speaking, on this bigger map, you should have 0 engagements for the first, 5 to 10 minutes, just the way we were in Kalahari earlier on. But I really doubt it, right? Because a lot of these teams, they are desperate for the win. And Fire Brigade is usually this place where Todat drops on into, but they're just skirmishing a little bit close towards that lumber mill. I feel like they really want to take down the team of WTG.
I mean, not only do they want to take on WTG, but Geek Fam is also right there in the horizon. That's going to be very troublesome for them if they don't get away really fast. So WTG, you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle here unless Geek Fam tries to go and save the day.
Oh, Toda immediately on the hunt. This is just so unusual from the Toda squad because Fire Brigade is usually where they start off all of their prowl within Purgatory, but now they strike first. And now Breen taken out of the equation by Chill. Pedro will be able to find No Name as well. One guy underground as well, and the players of WTG will go ahead to start running away from this encounter. But will Toda allow them to get away? Zain GG from the back. Yonsla holding on to a great position for himself. Not over-aggressing, not stepping on out, and it looks like the rest of the players of Toda have no idea that he's there as Zain GG pulls the rest of the Toda squad away from their team members. So this is a great play from WTG, even if they got caught out early here.
You're absolutely right, and with Zain just trying to go in there for the distraction, nice! Finally Spark goes down. It works out for the best of them, and now Zain finally does the job and eliminates him. That's a really big response, a really good reversal coming in from WTG, and just like that, even though they only have 2 players left, they did enough damage to Todak to try and, stop the push.
There he goes flying. Zain gets taken down by the vehicle. Pedro, the one with the drive-by, and he didn't even need to pull out the MAC-10. Possibly one of the best guns for a drive-by. Oh, for the finisher now.
No.
Pedro, no mercy style. But one final player on the side of WTG. The question is, can he get to one of the revival points and bring the rest of his team members in? Todak need to do the exact same for themselves as well.
Todak, chill. They do so well in terms of like explosive, aggressive first game matches, and that's what we like to see from Todak because they don't want to be in the 5th spot. They want to get more money and climb up the ranks. And now we're looking at another very familiar scene here, Hard to Get versus AKO Laggers. It seems like early game they always try to meet each other.
Kionsla, he has to be very careful because he only has a charge buster in his hands, no long-range engagement ability. So if he gets caught out before he gets to the revival pad, it's going to be a GGWP for him. The rest of WTG move back to the lobby. Plays of AKO now. Hard to get right beside them. No engagements coming through here, Beef. They just want to get away from this compound.
That's a very smart play for AKO Ligers. They are going to be taking some shots, information already there, but we are going to be putting our attention up against Umbrella Reborn and Script Shots. Script Shots, though, really doing a good job, especially with Perrin getting a lot of the shots there. But for them, it's Perrin doing a lot of the killing. So if he's gone in the competition, they're going to have a hard time, especially into the later half of the match.
Cas can strike UMP. Shahid has the exact same gun. Fires right back. Grenade. Is it going to get tossed? Shahid has absolutely none on his side. But the information gets sent back towards Lance. Is he going to be able to find the flank on them? Cas is already ready for that. Grenade launcher. Absolute waste. Lance doesn't strike anything. Manages to tag up Cas just a little bit now. And the pressure comes through. Perrin taken down by Niel once again, taken out of the equation. Error from up top, and the players of Umbrella Reborn can strike, and they can strike hard. Shahid now left all alone, a 3v1 situation. Shahid gets taken down as well, and the final player from the side of Script Shots, the Beta, as he runs away now, gets caught, and Script Shots, the first team to be eliminated.
And that's what we like to see from Umbrella Reborn. Really hot spot and really hot start as well. And now, you have 4 kills to your name with Niel just absolutely popping off, and you should utilize that. WTG Expert finally eliminated, and Jay-Z, how did they find him? They basically was a cat and a mouse situation where the traps were basically laid. And now WTG, they've been really struggling in this competition here so far, especially being in that 17th spot with no booyahs here so far. And now the circle is going to be closing in just a little bit, and you know what, AJ, I really want a final circle in the water again.
No, stop asking for stuff like that, man. I hate those water circles. I mean, it just takes out so much of fun from the game. Because, and one of the main reasons why I love seeing some of these compound fights is I just get so crazy hyped up whenever anyone gets a trip mine kill. Yeah, you don't find that in a water zone. So I saw Neil managing to pick up 2 for himself, but Orin is on a spree collecting glue walls for himself. 14, make that 13 as he just uses 1, but charging up 7 grenades in hand. And this is that engagement against the players of Toda. Orin, he has got no fear at all. Closes the distance, charges up the grenade, sends 1 towards Spark. Is he gonna get that knock? Glue wall pulled up by Toda. They'll survive that for the time being. Orin down on the ground as he over-aggresses. Man04 responds. Spark down onto the ground. Geek Fam now barricading themselves. Man04 has got the auto shotgun, but it means nothing in front of Chill, who has the charge buster. It's all in the hands of Victory and Exec now, babe.
And here we go, Geek Fam overextending just a little bit, and with Orin just going down very quickly, that's going to be definitely very detrimental to them. Chill, going to be the only person left for his team here in Todak. And Geek Fam seems like they are really wanting to make a comeback. One more person, one more heal, that's going to be good enough, but then it's anyone's ball game right now.
Yeah, no grenade, they need to go in there, but Orin is down and out for the count already. So unfortunate for the players of Geek Fam, because those grenades would have been perfect in this trailer, but Victory doesn't care. Jumps on up, uses the window, and they eliminate Toda in the 10th spot. Geek Fam, they strike. It was a waste earlier on, but this time round, they want to pick up as many points as possible before meeting Group C later on.
That is the price you pay by bunching up into a very small little trailer room here in Todak, making that mistake. And now they definitely pay the price in Geek Fam, having that 4, almost losing a lot of kills as well, but really good recovery on their end. It's really that quick recovery from Xax really was the game changer for them, because at some point, Todak really had a chance to go take out Geek Fam. And now again, Circle closing a really, really fast matchup here in Purgatory, which we didn't really expect.
Yeah, but I have to say, I was super shocked with how Orange approached that situation. Didn't wait for no backup. And I understand that he is the MVP. He is the slayer of Geek Fam right now. But you cannot underestimate your opponents in that way. And he paid such a high price. And at the end of the day, if the backup wasn't as strong from the rest of his team members, that fight would have been lost. And it would have been the fault of Orange, because he was stacked with those grenades. He was stacked with those glue walls. He didn't even need to go ahead and rush them.
Yeah, he didn't have to go that close. I mean, yes, the rush and the grenade really was good, but he should have just stayed there, wait for his teammates, and really went in for the push, because those 7 grenades, that would have been a really different story if he just waited just for a few moments. And now, speaking of a few moments, we see here AKO Ligers backing away from the situation against H2G, but you know what? Knowing H2G, they just keep winning the gunfights over and over again.
Yeah, let's see if not hard to get will be able to travel towards the next compound without AKO disturbing them. Bloodyhead still alive and kicking, but 0 kills in their hands so far. They're playing the game of survival, as all teams should in a battle royale. But the problem is you really want to sandwich yourself with all of those kill points that you can find out there. And now Team Bloody Heads from the Philippines, they're not doing all that too bad in the competition, but where they sit down at the leaderboards is just way too close to, against all of those other teams. Every single day, the leaderboards in the midsection continuously shuffles because of how close these teams are together to each other.
Orange Esports, Torm spots out Overdrive, and now that's going to be very difficult to have as Pin goes down. Now it's their time to go and push. Probably getting one more, and there you go. That's going to be very hard for Overdrive, as one more player is going to be left here. Triple kill for Torm. That is a very good start for Orange Esports that had a booyah and and it's only because 9 kills, that's definitely a lot. And you were pretty spot on with the kills that they had. And now Raze is the only person left for Overdrive, and the best he can do is just to play for placement points.
Yeah, Razy now it's all decision-making time. Blue Zone coming in for the close. Icon in front of him. Shots already. And now Icon's going to be teasing the guy as well. Orange Esports from the back. Poor little overdose. They are toast. Razy's not going to be able to get out of this. Storm, can he find the kill? Jabba takes it for himself. Orange Esports still gets it. They're just thankful that Icon did not steal that point away from them, but at the expense of overdose, of course. It's a little unfortunate, but that's exactly what you need to manage. When you drop into Purgatory, you need to find a vehicle, man, because traversing through the open terrain of Purgatory just puts you in so much of trouble.
Oh yeah, speaking of trouble, EWG seems like they might have a very hard time, as they probably are going to be gate-kept. There's a lot of teams right now. I wish I could see which teams they are. I think it's going to be Geekcam, just basing from the icons themselves. So we really need to pick up the pace, because if they don't push right now, the zone's going to be going in there for the kill. All they need to do is go around the circle, and hopefully the Geekfam won't spot them.
Yeah, let's see exactly what they can pull off in here. There's just a middle ground that is absolutely empty. Everybody else forming an invisible circle. Exact alone holding a long angle away so that he can back up the rest of his team members, and they might just be able to pick off Umbrella Reborn one after the other. Umbrella Reborn too busy with bloody heads. They make way too much of noise. Geek Fam needs to strike now if they want to start picking up those points.
Umbrella Reborn needs to go and back away from the situation, because they're just a little bit too open. Especially with Geek Fam right now, really hidden behind the compound very safely. Bakery with the shotgun, with the sniper, can definitely go and have a pretty good time at picking out a lot of those kills. Orin as well, he has a lot of those grenades that can definitely go and make the push for them. And now, slowly but surely, Shadow from H2G, looking like he wants to spot Orange Esports at the moment. He's taking a lot of these shots, but then he definitely has the vantage point.
This brings back memories, right, Shadow? The old Batman. He always likes hanging out on roofs. Sometimes doesn't really execute the plays in the best way possible, but now he's got Jay-Z up top with him as backup as well. But Jay-Z down on the ground thanks to AKO Stoby QD. Is he gonna get punished? No shots coming through. Insane from the other side. He can give that backup, but unfortunately, the players of AKO don't find those shots just yet. They're just way too pressured to continuously bring in all of those flurry of shots. Now the players of Geek Fam teasing them up a little bit as well. AKO has to focus on two sides. Shanks will be able to find a player of bloody heads. Let's see if this can continue.
H2G, they can definitely go in third party this. Probably wait for Geek Fam to go in for the infiltration. Just really going up against AKO laggers, and eventually they can take down 2 teams if they wanted to. But obviously another problem is going to be up in the horizon, as Orange Esports is going to be right beside them. And now the circle is going to be closing in. Orange Esports, they're a little bit open there, so that's going to be very difficult. Take a look at that final circle, AJ. It seems like... I love
it's the worst circle possible, Beef. Open area, water circle. How else can things go badly? Eastern Wolves gang now gonna be the only team from across the river trying to take on all of these other squads. Geek Fam as well as Orange Esports getting comfortable already in that open area. The first ones there might not be the last ones to finish off this match, because they will be the target as all of the other teams now hop on in. Indeed, the team that is already inside of the next circle, can play the gatekeepers, but you never know exactly what's going to break down. 3 knocks back to back to back. Icon as well as the players of Geek Fam putting themselves up onto the kill feed. H2G insane with a couple of teaser shots as he backs away way too far from the next safe zone, and 7 more seconds to make a decision, but hard to get. They are coming in here to play that hard game, and it looks like AKO will be in your crosshairs in a little bit.
Man, just gets a lot of these easy shots, not really knowing H2G. They're unaware that there's one man going in there from Icon. And now Aries, the only hope left for his team, trying to make it into a 1v4 situation, but Icon looking very strong. And now goes in, one for the kill, hard to get eliminated from the competition in that number 8 spot. Now it's going to be a very hot start for Icon. All they need to do is get rid of AKO Laggers as well. But with the push coming in from the circle, they have no choice but to go and meet Orange Esports right there at the bottom.
Ritz down on the ground. Goku takes down Flame as well, taken out of the equation. Seiya steals that away. AKO gonna be smiling. Orange Esports with a huge frown on their faces. AKO, can they finish this off as Icon now approaches them? Seiya and Cheers eliminate the rest of the players of Icon. Morito with a far-off shot. Bloody Head still alive and kicking in the next players that they want to take on would be Geek Fam, but AKO from the right-hand side as well. How are they going to manage 2 squads at the very same time? Mark making a beeline for the players of AKO, but Geek Fam open up fire as well. They have to manage the blue zone, and Bloody Heads do that absolutely fantastic. Mark with 4 grenades in hand, going for the tosses. AKO Liger's taken out of the equation already, but Geek Fam still standing up tall. Bloody Heads, can they find those nades? 2 players down already. Bloody Heads getting the job down, but iPad's out of nowhere brings in those grenades. They themselves get eliminated from this chaos. Pandemonium towards the final circle. And Eastern Wolves gang, they have got the advantage.
And we were just talking about Eastern Wolves gang. They could have just went in for the push, but the RNG gods definitely are blessing them. Bloody Heads eliminated. It was all up to iPans eliminating 3 members of his team to just go and take him down. And now Geek Fam needs to find a way to go and push into the circle, knowing very well that EWG is right across the board. But then Orange Esports as well. This is a love triangle that we like to see here. Who's going to push in very early on and try not to get a lot of the points into the final circles? Here we go. Kaizen getting a lot of the shots as well, and they are very comfortable going into that final circle.
This is deja vu from week number 1, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We saw an exact circle like this, but the difference is there was just one player behind the boulder. Eastern Wolves gang in a prime spot now to pick up the booyah for themselves. Kaizen knocks Orin down onto the ground. Look at Orange Esports chipping on in as well. They steal the kill away. Mano 4 taken away by Orange Esports. But here's the thing, Eastern Wolves gang, they don't really care. They're not breaking a sweat because they have got the prime position now to finish off this matchup, as the players of Orange Esports will have to swim towards them. Exact manages to get decos, eliminates him with a charge buster as well. But Geek Fam get taken out of the equation, and now Orange Esports out as well. Eastern Wolves gang with the gods of RNG on their side secure a booyah.
I feel like Orange Esports, they just had too much luck a while ago in game number 1 and almost coveting another booyah, having that second place. But obviously the spotlight is on you, EWG Eastern Wolves gang. They just stayed put and let everyone else do their thing. And being, honestly, if they didn't have enough glue walls, I feel like it would have been a different situation where Orange Esports and Geek Fam would have had them. But then I saw one player, I forgot who it was, only had 1 glue wall left and also getting a lot of those kills. So that was really essential for him. The timing was perfect.
And I feel like one of the highlights of the Eastern Wolves gang is they depended on each other. They had that communication, and you are absolutely spot on, Beef. The resources weren't all that too great on the side of EWG. They had to make sure that they coordinate all of their movements because they had to depend on each other's glue walls just to make sure they don't step out and make a terrible mistake. And this was a situation I believe they learned after taking on Toda in week number 1 in that final circle, where they ran out of glue walls and they had to go down because Toda had the compound and they had extra glue walls to use. Eastern Wolves gang learning from their past mistakes, making sure they use that to their advantage in this final circle. And that's exactly what we love to see within the group stages of the Free Fire MCP Major Season 3.
And there you go, Eastern Wolves gang getting 1 more booyah, 2 to their name. And that was a very good start from them. And Geek Fam, that was so unfortunate for them because obviously they had to go and cross over. And they were doing a lot of pretty good damage there. I feel like they should have engaged with Orange Esports first, but obviously the panic going in from the push into the last circle definitely really caught them a little bit off guard. And obviously with Bloody Heads, that God nade from iPans from Umbrella Reborn definitely was a game changer for them.
Oh yeah, and the guy just, gets knocked down right after he tosses that nade, and Umbrella Reborn actually got taken out of the lobby way before he managed to land those 3 knocks. Just insane kills coming through from all of those teams there as absolute chaos breaks down when all of these players were just starting off things passively. But let's welcome our beautiful Danley right back onto the panel to share her thoughts.
Mainly my thought just being that the risk Eastern Wolves gang took to actually go and play on that side of the river to begin with was just... I mean, they didn't know what was going to happen, right? They didn't know that they were going to have the correct prediction, but it's sometimes plays like that where you just decide, you got to take a risk. They took the risk. They were the only team there. And in most situations, you don't expect a team to be on the other side of the river, right? You would normally expect them to be all playing on one side, which was probably why some of those things that things led to one another, right? Like if Geek Fam knew that Eastern Wolves gang was there, they would have pressed the issue way sooner. But you assume from past matches this is going to happen, and so you play like this, and then you get surprised like...
And I think that was a really good call from the side of Eastern Wolves gang. I mean, whoever their coach is, most definitely coached them the right way. Because when you look at the RNG of Battle Royale, the circle usually moves towards the spot where there's least number of players, least number of teams. And Eastern Wolves gang kind of knew that they were the only ones on that shoreline, right? So they kind of played that to their advantage, and the gods of RNG just delivered the circle right towards them. But here's the thing that I have been focusing on breaking down for a while now. Eastern Wolves gang, they've really been depending on their placement points a little bit too much. They need to start ranking up on the kills department as well, Danley.
Yeah, this could just be maybe a team's weakness. The main reason being that maybe they're just not confident going up into these skirmishes against other teams. So if that is the case, it's going to be something very difficult to fix, because you don't just suddenly become good at skirmishes overnight. It's absolutely practice. And unfortunately, you don't really get that much time to practice when you're already in the league stage. But if E-Wolves, if they continue on this trajectory, I don't expect them to drop top 12. I think they're consistent enough to maintain the top 12. The only worry you have if you're cheering for this team going into the grand finals is, can they get enough points? That's the big question. So let's take a look at the overall standings, see where everyone is currently at. So just a reminder, the current standings are only going to really affect the teams in groups A and B, because both of these groups have finally played. And as you can see right now, Geek Fam, yes, they are shooting further ahead, but it's because Blacklist hasn't played yet. So the next round, we're going to be seeing Blacklist versus Geek Fam essentially for that first place, to see if we're actually going to be seeing much of a change. Maybe Blacklist will catch up, or it could be a case of Geek Fam shooting further ahead.
Today, Kalahari is in play, Danley, so that's most definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, Geek Fam are actually pretty dang good on Kalahari as well, so I'm not sure if it's like a map thing anymore. This is just a little bit of luck, but a whole lot of skill. And I know this
honestly,
is like... Go on,
take a look at the 15th spot. Going into Orange Esports jumped so much from 15 going all the way to 9th. So I think you guys' predictions for Orange Esports, even though, yes, they didn't get the booyah from the previous matchup, they still got the most points out of everyone in their team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they got first in 2 rounds, right? Like, it's a pretty big, a pretty big jump for Orange. I think they started the day with needing 10 points to just take top 12, and then look at them, look at where they are at right now. Like, 9th place, the team's feeling pretty good, but I hate to say it, you're not safe. It's still way too soon, but it's good news. It's a glimmer of hope for all of us, because we were all just sort of waiting for this Orange Esports to eventually come alive. Maybe the team is finally ripe, you know, they had to sit on the branch for a little bit, sweeten up, and it's like, all right, guys, we're ready to go. Speaking of sweetening up, we're going to sweeten the deal here with some player data for our wonderful fans at home. And as you can see, we've got Orange Esports topping the charts with top 2. 5 kills apiece on Goku and Torm. These guys just absolutely doing it. Yes, they didn't come first, but who cares if you're taking all the kills that round? Then we have Exact from Geek Fam, and then finally from Umbrella Reborn, we have Niall, with both Exact and Niall sitting on 3 kills apiece. But, I mean, you know, These guns tell a story, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got the AC-80 in there, one of the most popular marksman rifle. And what makes the AC-80 so popular is that if you've got the mechanical capabilities to land 2 shots back-to-back on the same target, you get additional damage, right? And that's an easy knock for you. And as you can see, those players really hitting those headshots with that gun as well. AWM, everybody's favorite as a sniper. But those are the kind of weapons that you really need to bring into Purgatory, where you have to deal with the distance, all of that engagement. But when we hop on back to Kalahari, we should be seeing those shotguns come back into play once again.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too surprising. But we've just finished up our first 2 matchups of the day, folks, right? We've just had A versus B. So we're going to have A sit on the sidelines, and it's going to be the Battle of the Titans. It's B versus C. And in particular, it's the matchup of Geek Fam versus Blacklist. There's all the other matchups as well, but top placing, it's important for these 2 teams because, of course, if you come first, you get $2,000 on top of qualifying for the grand finals. And Kalahari, it's a map that Geek Fam and Blacklist are comfortable on, but I'm going to probably have to dig your brains a little bit here. I'm going to start with Beef Mommy. From out of these 2 teams, who do you actually feel like is the real king of Kalahari? Who do you think has mastered this map between Blacklist and Geek Fam?
Well, it's really hard to tell because I feel like it also depends on which teams, which groups they go up against. Because I feel like for Geek Fam, they do better when they do go up against A and B, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like when the Group C comes into play, that's when things kind of start dropping off for this particular team. So Blacklist International might just have a little bit of an edge.
AJ?
I have to just stick with Blacklist International. I feel like they have just gotten a 100% mastery of that map, but it really depends on the groupings as well, because they seem to struggle a little bit as well in terms of finding those skills against Group A whenever they do come across them. But of course, ladies, German boys, girls, do not forget, stick by the broadcast because we've got the Violet Terror gun box for a giveaway today. When is it going to be coming through? Right after the break when we return from series number 3.
Yeah, so game 3 is about to come up, so make sure you tune into that one. Then we'll have a quick break, and then it's giveaway time, not just for you guys, but also for us as well. And make sure you save that code once it does pop up so that you can share it with all your friends and family, because we all enjoy free stuff. And if anything, thank you, Garino, for making it happen. And thanks for making MCP happen, because we get some amazing games as well. It's just the best thing. My weekends are always occupied. I've always got something going on.
I have no life.
I mean, it's a good no life,
Free Fire's
right?
my life.
Yeah, it's people just like, oh, you want to go? And it's like, no, I got a Free Fire. just like full on cold. I got a Free Fire.
Nah, I'm making money. Weekend. Yeah. It's good. I absolutely love shoutcasting for Free Fire because of this, right? Because of the main fact of the matter of how unpredictable the leaderboards are week after week, day after day. It continuously shuffles on through. Even with the top 5, you still have that drama there, even though, you see pretty much the same 5-6 teams going in there for that mix, but it's just pretty much between them, and never do you see one team just conquering the map or the league, just like how we saw within season 1 in itself. That one kind of got boring after a while, but now it's just absolute action and drama every single day, Danielle.
Well, I mean, there's always a story for everything, right? And even though in the past we did have the domination of a certain team, the grand finals was a whole different beast. So we could be looking at a similar situation here, right? It's like, it's a mix, but the grand finals is even worse. In a good way, not worse. I guess it's even better. Wow, wrong word. But I look forward to grand finals because it's very unpredictable. It's unlike a lot of other esports where you have your favorite teams and it's very obvious who's going to end up going against who. When it comes to grand finals and Free Fire, it's just so volatile and it's so crazy that whatever predictions you make, just chuck it out the window. Like, don't even bother trying to guess who's going to win because it is going to be a team that you never suspected.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, look at that beautiful, beautiful trophy that I definitely want to put my hands on. I just want to ask for Garina, can the casters also have, like, their individual trophies? Because I feel like I just want to feel like a winner.
Aww.
For once in my life.
I'm pretty sure we can touch this trophy at one point, but I don't know if they're going to give us individual trophies, right? I want no participation trophy. No.
Actually, yes. Participation trophies are subtly insulting if you think about it, right?
Exactly. But you know, whether or not we will get a chance to put our hands on this trophy very much is in the hands of Garena. But which one of these teams will be able to reach up? As you guys can see, the plaques at the very bottom. The winners of Season 1, Geek Fam. Season 2, it was taken by Blacklist International. And these two teams are the leaders of the leaderboard right now, with Hard to Get, Do Easy, as well as Toda hot on their heels. And we've been seeing the rise of the Eastern Wolves gang, who are sitting down in the 6th spot right now. The competition is most definitely up for grabs between any one of these teams. But nobody can say that a comeback from one of the teams who are lower than them, it cannot be there, right? Because we know no matter how things break down within the group stages, it is no way whatsoever an indication of how the grand finals is going to go.
Yeah, statistically speaking, right, from the past 2 MCP majors, the league stage leader has never won the grand final. So we could be looking at a new champion here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who it's going to be, right? I'm just saying it's not Geek Fam, it's not Blacklist. I'm very sorry if it, like, the managers are watching, but this is history, okay?
Yeah.
Once you take history into account, you just have to accept that it's going to be a part of Free Fire. So I'm just wondering, like, take those two teams out of the equation. Who's the closest right now? And it seems like it's Do Easy.
Hard to Get is above Do Easy right now, and you know this was a shocker of a squad. Hard to Get rose up from absolutely nowhere, and I have to say, Jay-Z as well as Shadow, they have been putting in a lot of work refining their place on Free Fire, because the last time we spotted this team under a different brand, I have to say they were abysmal with their performance. Their positioning was off. The way they took their gunfights were absolutely crazy, and I was not a huge fan, but they seem to be a whole new squad with a whole new breath of life in this competition, and they might just give the rest of the Malaysians a run for their money here.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just want to touch up on what you said. When we did watch them when they were up, when they had another name, one of the plays that really stuck up to me, which I still remember to this day, even though this was like months ago, it was basically Shadow carrying his team. So it's all up to this guy to try and make the pieces really fit for his team. And so far, so good. They are at that 3rd spot where they've the only hope in the Philippines at the moment to try and go and break into the top 1 spot.
Yeah, actually
disagree.
Hang on. So speaking of Hard to Get, right, I want to give them a little bit of spotlight, because we haven't really spoken about this team at all, right? They've been there, they have been rising, but they haven't had their fair share of the spotlight. So far, how would you describe the general play style of Hard to Get? Like, what makes this team so good so far?
I have to say positioning. I have to, because we have to take into context exactly who is the player that has improved the most, and that has to be Jay-Z. Jay-Z used to run me insane because of the positions he used to take. He used to get involved in gunfights, no glue walls, out in the open. He just starts firing at people, and they used to get punished so badly, right? And this time around, they are so good. Decision making in terms of holding down onto a position before they open fire, before they go in and engage with the team. The ambushes seem to be so much more sharper. They clearly have been hyper-focusing on improving the mechanical capabilities as well as decision-making in the team. They probably even got a new coach to kind of guide them exactly what they should be doing out there on the battlefield, because it's so different in terms of what they used to bring up onto the table.
What do you think? What do you think, Beef?
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, like what AJ said, I feel like it was only Shadow that was really carrying his team when they were called Almighty.
Yeah.
And now the fact that Jay-Z finally stepped up into the plate, it's not just to the hands of one player. So you can definitely go and basically decide, okay, who do you want to go and take charge? It can either be any of the players. And that's the reason why you see them so high up into the leaderboards at the moment. And now the Philippines finally has something to throw in terms of going up against Blacklist International and Geek Fam.
Yeah, and that's the part. That's the statement I wanted to kind of go up against earlier on, because I don't really agree that Hard to Get is that one team that's going to be able to make the Philippines proud, because you still have bloody heads. I mean, Beef, remember where they used to be and how they used to be as a squad. Now they have got consistency coming through on a day-to-day basis, and even better consistency in comparison to Vete Esports, which brings me back to Vete Esports. I think they're hiding their strats because Beef, you are very familiar with the way they play. McRory has not been tossing those grenades. He has not been hyper focusing on those loots. You don't see him bringing out the grenade launcher. It's not like it's not existent out there on the battlefield. They just don't seem to be the same Vete esports that we know, Beef.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure we still have a lot to say, especially going into our match number 3. So I feel like I want to ask you, Denali, because you asked us like a pretty important question. It's
Yeah.
like, what do you think in terms of like, let's say a team like Vete Esports trying to hide their strats possibly and maybe just showing up into the very end of the group stages?
I'm not a big fan of showing up at the very end unless it's a case of your team having that second. What's this word I'm looking for? There's a particular way of describing it. There are some teams that really perform well under pressure, and I don't think it's Vete Esports. I'm praying that they say I am praying that they're saving strats right now, because this is a team that had high expectations, and as you said, right, like they have a lot of high performing players, but they haven't been putting off their signature plays, and to see them not be able to play to their potential. Is this a case of them just not being able to keep up? Like, that's the thing I'm worried about here. Maybe these are very talented players, and this is a team that we should be expecting making it to the grand finals, but they're just not performing. I can't put my finger on what's the issue with this team, because I personally do not believe they're saving strats. I refuse to believe that they're playing bad on purpose.
I feel like with Forbids going to be the front runner for that team, and usually it's going to be McRory, especially with how much he makes it rain grenades. It's really difficult to see that he just struggling, and it's usually like Forbids the only person left in his team that everyone else is going to be wiped out.
Well, that's the thing. Like, in particular, I have my eye on McRory. This is a guy that in the past, like in past tournaments, past seasons, he would always be one of the top performing players and around. Even if the team died early, right? He would be one of the top 3 people for kills.
Correct.
But we're not seeing this at all from this team. So I'm not sure if it's a case of maybe they can't find opportunities to set up for McRory. Maybe McRory is getting sniped early. I have seen a couple of rounds where McRory is literally the first person to die and they can't get the revive off. And as soon as I see that on the kill feed, I just say, okay, that's it. Vete is going to drop out at some point. Like that's the biggest sign for me. So I don't know if it's because they can't set up for McRory, or maybe Forbids also cannot find a position where he's able to carry that team, because I don't believe Vete Esports is a team that basically has everyone sitting on McRory's shoulders. They're talented players, and I refuse to believe he's the only one that's going to do anything for them, but it's just not working.
I absolutely agree with all of your points. But remember, Danley, you brought up a great talking point yesterday, which is the fact that when you move into a battle royale, you've got 4 players. It's not like all 4 players are slayers. Each and every single player has got a certain role within the squad. And I feel like Vete Esports is one of the cleanest executors of their roles whenever they drop into a matchup. Yes, McRory is not the solo carry of the team, but McRory is most definitely the guy who opens up those ambushes by bringing down the HP of their opponents with initially those grenade shots first, and then the finisher comes through from Daebun, from Let's Go. Forbits is always the guy who holds those long angles far back to give the team cover. And it just feels like they're not going in for those strong ambushes. I don't know why. And even if Vete Esports struggles against the rest of the Malaysian teams, I definitely can accept that, because that's not a new story at all. Malaysia has always had the dominance over the Philippines as far as Free Fire is concerned the past 3 years. That's the data that no one can come up in here and contest. But going up against teams from within the Philippines in itself, and you have teams like Bloodyhead as well as Hard to Get performing so much more better than them, there's definitely something wrong here.
So it's something that I'm thinking about, right? We always ask the questions like, why is Vete Esports or why is AKO Ligers like struggling? Maybe because it's like a meta change. Maybe it's the fact that they've introduced the revival thing, right? Because that definitely changes your strategy, because before they can confidently go in and just basically wipe out a team, but it's a possibility that one person from that team can just switch things around really quickly and have a really good recovery. So yeah, with that being said, I'm so excited for our game number 3.
It's finally happening. Kalahari B versus C. I love watching this group. So let's jump into our 3rd game of the day. It's finally upon us. Beef Mommy, AJ, take it away. I can't wait.
Thank you very much, Danley. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we hop on right back into the match, this time it's at Kalahari once again. We move on back to the deserts to see exactly which one of these teams are going to be bringing on the drought early on in terms of gunfights and perhaps pandemonium, chaos once again at the 10-minute mark. Hopefully that is not the case, because I would like to see a little bit more of strategy being executed towards the final circles instead of just gunfights flying left, right, center, Beef.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I feel like we kind of had a taste of that into our Purgatory matchup, where we thought that being in the final circle in water, we thought, okay, it's gonna be not really that impressive, but EWG definitely brought out the strats, really just saving the glue walls just in the nick of time. Literally just one glue wall at every single moment. But now we are starting it off in Kalahari, and hopefully we get to see a very interesting final circle over here, and all of the teams really just obviously Geek Fam really want to go into Stone Ridge. They love this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. But Vete Esports now dropping by Stone Ridge as well. They want to go in there for the early engage, and McRory not anywhere near the rest of the players of Geek Fam. And this is going to be a very, very troublesome fight for the players of Vete Esports to take on. But thankfully, they hold on to the outside region of Stone Ridge. And this was the exact same spot we saw them hold on to yesterday. I was not a huge fan of it, but they did manage to overcome the players of Geek Fam by shutting them down early on. And I feel like they want to go in for the exact same setup. Yes, Geek Fam went down yesterday. Question is, what did they learn from that engagement? And can they return fire in a solid way today?
It's all about the adjustments that you can make than the day prior. And now for Veta Esports doing the same thing. Geek Fam, I'm not quite sure if you should pull a trick like that going up against of this team. And now Veta Esports wants to go and gatekeep a very giant of a team. And now Geek Fam has a monumental decision to figure out how they're going to engage, knowing very well, look at that. It's basically a parallel line going up against them and really just trying to stop Geek Fam in their tracks. Icon, on the other hand, don't want to have any kind of reasoning, don't want to go and have a piece of the pie that Veta Esports really wants to go and get. And now the circle going in there very slowly. A lot of these teams can definitely go in there very slowly because, you know, Kalahari, you don't really want to rush it. Because if you do rush it, it's going to be very hard because it snowballs really, really fast. And now speaking of Vete Esports and Geek Fam as well, Geek Fam knows very well that Vete Esports is going to be spread out, just like what they did yesterday. So what did they do? Spread out as well. So AJ, taking a look at what Geek Fam's doing, they have like a buddy system. They're split into two.
4 bits now, gonna get caught out. Vickery spots him, shots coming through, and the very first glue wall gets taken down, but instantaneous response coming through. One grenade in the hands of Vickery. Can he get the shot? 4 bits from in front, grenade dropped on in, but Vickery does not manage to get that because of the time turner, and now UMP in hand. 4 bits gets put down onto the ground with a 3v1 situation. Orange is the one to manage to get that knock. The finisher does not come through. They are looking for the rest of the players. They are expecting an ambush from the rest of Vete Esports, but it's just a little too slow. Let's Go gets caught out as well, and that Farmers can do no damage from that sort of a distance. They need to continuously shut it down, but Mano4 is already on standby with that shotgun. Let's see exactly how Geek Fam now executes Vete Esports and gets a little bit of revenge for what they had yesterday.
That 2-2 split from Geek Fam definitely was so good because they know that Vete Esports, they're going to be spread out. And now for Vete Esports, knowing very well that Forbit is out of the picture, knowing very well that he's the person that can carry his team, they need to find a way to not get eliminated so early with just one grenade. But speaking of grenade, Mano4 throws one. They don't find anything as Vete Esports. Good thing they back away from the situation.
Let's go, McRory, just keeping formation tight. Exact with the chase as well. Let's see exactly what he can pull off from this maneuver. Daymoon a little too far away from the rest of his team members, as now the players of Vete Esports, they try to spread out as far as possible, trying to pull away each other. McRory manages to hit Exact with the Farmers, but does not get the finisher off just yet. One backup coming through from Orin as well. Let's Go managing to shut down all of that gap. Finds Mano4. Can the grenade get popped, or will Let's Go get caught out? The player on his right has not been spotted out. Let's Go just missing that spot, but McRory with the insane backup manages to take Mano4 out of the equation. What a play by Vete Esports.
McRory picking up the pieces for his team, and let's go, going down, just one more. Forbids, good thing he was able to go in for the heal, and now Geek Fam, they're going to have a really hard time here. You thought they had the advantage a while ago, but no, you are going up against Vete Esports. We keep talking about this a while ago. The Sleeping Giants seems like they're slowly coming in alive.
Oh, who's that? Who's that from afar? Vete Esports, McRory as well as Forbits. McRory strikes back against Victory, backs away so that he doesn't get shut down from this equation as well. Forbits still alive and kicking from afar, trying to cover the rest of his team members. And Exec, as the final player, has to disengage from this battle. McRory as well as Forbits, they have managed to get the impossible done as they very slowly backed away from that engagement, showing the players of Geek Fam that they are not ready for a fight, suckered them in for such a good retaliation. This is Vete Esports at their best. But now, will they be able to stop Exec, or are they going to allow him to back away with his life and bring the rest of their own squad members back into the game and just allow Fate to catch up with Exec?
That was such a beautiful readjustment coming in from the side of Vete Esports. They lost 4 bids 1, and then they regrouped. And not only that, they didn't stay inside that tower long enough for them to be taken out by the nade by Man04. So the readjustments coming in from Vete Esports, that is what we're used to seeing them.
Yeah.
We keep mentioning it a while ago. That's why the spotlight is on them, because the pressure is high. The expectations are high for this team, the #1 Filipino team here in this competition. But let us take our eyes into another squad that has been doing a pretty good job in this competition. Do Easy. Will they be able to take a lot of points and maybe even overtake Blacklist International in that #2 spot?
They're 73 points away from catching up with Geek Fam, who's sitting down in that #1 spot. Not a lot from Blacklist International, but of course, let's see exactly what they can pull off for themselves. You know, going back a little to that Geek Fam Vete Esports conversation, Vete Esports is one of the biggest reasons, apart from, teams like Axis, as to why Geek Fam is not able to get great points when they go up against Group C. Do Easy, one of those squads as well, who always manage to find those skills, and they dry out the players of Geek Fam. It is all left up to luck right now. Exec very close to that revival point already, should be able to bring in the rest of the players of Geek Fam back into the fray. So we should be able to see them in that battle in a little bit later on, because nobody else seems to be around the compound of Exec.
And now Vete Esports giving some shots, but they don't find anything at the moment. So all they need to do is really just push through, and Xax, all he can do is really gather any kind of information, try to be safe, be passive, or else he might lose placement points. And this early on, you don't want to be out of the competition. And now we are taking a look at Axis, where we didn't really have a lot of eyes from them, and it's a good thing that for really good, honestly, they have been a very impressive team here so far. And obviously being in the 11th spot, they need to go and pick things back up, because I feel like they kind of fell off the map here in week #2.
I kind of, am not very pleased with the performance of Axis Esports. I don't know what happened to them. They used to be one of the best squads playing at the MCP Majors, but they've fallen from grace way too far. And what I thought would kind of put them in the driver's seat, the revival system with all of their aggression, just seems to not really be making much of a difference at all for the squad. But now, as we jump on into yet another battle between the players of WTG as well as Umbrella Reborn, Umbrella Reborn has got this whole place all flanked up already. They have got all of those high points covered, and Error will be in prime position to shut down Preen as well as GG the moment they step on out. Nell, on the other hand, holds the flank on the right-hand side, has got the AC-80 together with the Charge Buster to annihilate with the long distance all those close-range combat.
WTG in a little bit of a pickle here as one person goes down. Pran is the only person that has been performing really well for this team. And now Umbrella, Reborn, backs away. Niel takes one shot. Doesn't quite finish it though.
Oh,
Zai in big trouble.
I mean, he was so close, but it's not going to be that much of an issue for that M1014. Short range, high damage, you are going to be able to annihilate your opponents in the best of fashions. But the problem here is his opponent had the M1887. The M1887 is even better at close range, but you cannot miss a shot. And that's exactly where you'll start appreciating the mechanical capability of your own hands, your own fingers on that mobile screen. Umbrella Reborn just a little better than the players of WTG at the moment, and Caps just backing away. Charge Buster in hand. It's all about the timing. Sets that bike ablaze, but back up by iPads. Knocks Caps down onto the ground, and WTG, they still suffer.
Ipan's definitely going to be such a crucial character for his team. Not only did he get that triple nade a while ago, but basically knocking down bloody heads, but also doing big plays here in Kalahari as well. Pre, No Name, they're going to be the lifeline at the moment for WTG. And now, looking at the map, we have Beta Esports being in a little bit of a hard time. As you can see, Icon does have the advantage of that higher ground.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the headshots are just going to be a little bit easier from the players of 8A Esports. And now, look at Icon. They find the players of... It's also Blacklist finding GeekFam off screen here. Hopefully we can jump on into that battle because the rest of the players of GeekFam have already made their way back into the game. But they drop directly in front of Blacklist International. And Exact is not there to back them up this time round, Beef.
And this time around, it's definitely going to be a different story because of how crucial every point really takes. And now, Cobra takes one, and there you go. Geek fam, you are going to have a hard time with Oren out of the picture. Blacklist International looking so solid at the moment. And there you go, one more for them. Let's go, though. Taking a look at what's going to be on the feed. It's all Blacklist International.
It's definitely going to be Blacklist International because the rest of the players of GeekFam, they don't really have much loots on them. They just came back into the game. But here's the saving grace. They dropped so far away from Exact, which means GeekFam still has a viability in terms of a play for that final zone. Unless Nell spots him out right now. Fikri keeping his head down low, not even healing himself up. Oh my lord, Fikri doesn't even have a medkit on him as he plays the game of survival. He got brought right back in. Exact looks like he got taken out earlier on as well already. Flash freeze from the players of the side of Icon, and now they go in there for the storm. Vete Esports back away, holding on to the compound for themselves. The maze of glue walls right in front will give Icon the cover, but now as they close in all of these distance, it's gonna be the play of those shotguns yet again, Beef.
Geek fam eliminated, and it's all up to Umbrella Reborn to try and go make a difference. Let's go. Ghost down. Beta Esports, they're going to have a really hard time here as they are going to be angled right now. Forbits, again, the only person left for his team, and usually we also call him Tutu Gaming because of how beautiful he looks, and especially under pressure.
Tutu Gaming. VJ Esports get taken out by Icon. That was a solid ambush that came through, and it was just all up to those shotguns, right? Close range combat, you really do have the advantage in terms of those sprays out of those barrels. And now Blacklist International, they position themselves well against Umbrella Reborn, who try to close this distance in, but they do not have the vantage point. Lux has the information, bird's eye view above and beyond all of those other team members. But Zapnu gets caught out, but doesn't get taken out of the equation just yet. Nell, iFans, everybody holding on to the edge of this hill just so that they don't get taken out of the equation from the side of Blacklist International. Vehicles on the side of Umbrella Reborn allows them to reposition. One player gets caught out, Nell down onto the ground. No save for this guy as Phoenix will be able to find the kill for himself.
Phoenix doing a really good job here so far, and that's a really good start, especially for Blacklist International that needs to go and pick up a lot of the points, knowing very well they got knocked down from that top spot. So they're angry. They definitely want to go and take as much as they can, and eventually eliminating Geek Fam as well. Vete Esports out of the picture, and now it's all up to this top dog, Blacklist International. But I am really hopeful that a lot of these teams, knowing very well that it's Blacklist International they're going up against, won't care, and you know what, just go in there for the kill. And so far, so good. AKO Ligers still alive. Umbrella Reborn, even though that there are only 2 people left, they were still picking up the scraps.
This is insane, man. Garena Free Fire is just absolutely insane when you can see a circle with 9 teams in there and any one of those 9 teams are capable of picking up the booyah. It's just absolutely insane as to how close these teams are in terms of combat ability out there on the battlefield. It's all about positioning right now as AKO takes close towards the center of the next circle. They have got a very small compound to work with, but what's the more important information here is they've got the vantage point. They've got the elevation. Jaboywa uses that to snap down onto Zapnu. Jaboywa takes him out of the equation as well. Lux GG is the next one for them to go ahead and strike, but Axis on the right-hand side of that hill will most definitely prove to be trouble. And as I say that, Vegeta strikes, knocking Cheers down onto the ground. They have to go in there for the save right now as Cheers crawls behind the glue wall. Back up from Seiya. AC80 now for the strike. Does not get the double damage onto him, but finds the other players right in his crosshairs. Seiya with a back-to-back shots now. Axis in a lot of trouble as AKO focuses in on them.
And not only does AKO Ligers need to have a go and take him some shots, but Vete Esports, so early on to the competition, they're going to be saying bye-bye here so far. AKO Ligers overdrive. That's going to be very difficult to go and get, but then as the circle does close in, it's all into Do Easy's hands to go and make a difference.
Yep, the gods of RNG giving Do Easy the circle. Now they just have to shut down No Name as well as Caps, the players from WTG who have just split apart way too far. Blacklist International with just one final player left in the mix is the one and only Phoenix. He is the MVP out of week number 1. If anybody can carry the team all the way to the end, it's gonna be this superstar. Toby Cutie down onto the ground. AKO now, they start to suffer as Axis Esports. They come in for the finisher, but they have to go through them first before they move on towards the next zone to take on the players of Do Easy. And look at the positioning held on by Do Easy. They have the blessing of the platform on top of everything else. The gods of RNG really on the side of Do Easy on this map.
It's all catch up for the other teams now. AKO Ligers can definitely go and catch up if they play their cards right. But with Do Easy, that's going to be very difficult because Refinery going up into that very top spot, that is a very good vantage point for them to go and get a lot of these kills. Not only that, they're the only ones up top.
Yeah, they're raking in all of the kills back to back now. We've seen 2 kills fall onto the side of Do Easy, and they just have to hold on to this angle. They have to make sure none of their kills get stolen away too fast. GG manages to knock down Jaboyua. Axis continues the fight against AKO as they continue to move on towards the edge of the next zone. Corpse now with a charge buster from the back. 45 HP left on himself. Backstab comes through. Neptune does not get the shot. He himself gets sprayed down onto the ground. Corpse, the final player on the side of Axis. Blue zone takes him out. And AKO, they survived that with just one single strand of the hair left on their heads. But can they now find the players of Do Easy? It's going to be AKO going up against the players of Do Easy. The backstab from one player on the side of AKO can perhaps secure them this circle as WTG Expert gets taken out. This looks even worse for AKO. Time Turner pulled out, but 2 players step on inside there. Jabal and Pablo down. Too bad secures the final one. And Do Easy and their Booyah just to climb back up the leaderboard.
And there you go, 4 total booyahs to their name already. Do Easy doing a really good job, and everything, it just seems like pretty easy into that final circle. The gods of RNG definitely blessed this team, especially going up to that Refinery. Not only that, just getting a lot of that high ground. Already early on, you get to see how well this team really performs under that pressure. And AKO Ligers, that was a really good spot. I mean, yes, even though they didn't get the booyah, it's good that they got that second spot. So pretty impressive movements from both of these teams here so far.
Do Easy with that victory, they've managed to find the 3rd placement for themselves. They knock hard to get down to the 4th spot for sure, but they are 44 points away from reaching Blacklist International in that 2nd spot. And you can see just through that information exactly how dominant GeekFam and Blacklist International are at the top of the leaderboards. But of course, Do Easy, they've been able to show us through consistency, and through this booyah, they've just equalized with GeekFam in terms of the most booyahs picked up in the competition so far, which is 4B.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy for Do Easy to just rack up the points, especially if they're gonna keep doing what they're doing here in Kalahari and be more consistent, because that's the only thing that they lack is consistency. And try to, I feel like they kind of got lucky here because the positioning in Refinery definitely was prime for them, and unfortunately for Blacklist International, they had to do a lot of catching up, so they were taken out pretty early into the competition here in this round in Kalahari, and that kind of gave way to teams like AKO Ligers that has been struggling. Give them a shot, and even WTG was able to stay there alive in that 3rd spot.
Oh yeah, Axis kind of not really moving on through with the circle a little earlier on. They get punished towards the end. And Do Easy, they had the job to finish off their opponents. One final kill from Too Bad just put the final nail in the coffin as well, right? 12 points out of placements, 7 kills overall. This was a great matchup for Do Easy to catch up to Hard to Get, but they need to hustle on a little bit more if they want to reach the players of Blacklist, Danley.
Yeah, they have a bit of a hustle to go, but I have a really good feeling about Do Easy this season, because we were talking very early on in the season, very hot and cold team. They would have games where they were amazing, games that they would bomb out, so it would just sort of equalize, and at the end of the day, they were just average. But now look at them. This week, this team is on fire. And I'm hoping this continues, especially after the shuffle, because if Do Easy can nail this consistency, regardless of the shuffle, they are easily top contenders to take the crown in the grand finals. But I'm really impressed. That's really all I don't want to
be. Yeah, I don't want to be a party pooper, but I don't want the positioning to be reversed, where Do Easy does great in the group stages, and at the grand finals is where they blow absolutely cold and not be able to climb up the leaderboards, because that would be the most painful experience for them, because it matters so much more at the grand finals. But through the consistency that they've been able to find so far, I guess it's easy to continue climbing up the leaderboard, right? But based on the experience yesterday and what they could show us, it's not each and every single day, not each and every single game that they can hit. And that's just very dangerous for the team, Danley.
It is dangerous, but at the end of the day, it's in their hands and only they can decide their fate. So we'll see how it goes, if it keeps going this way, or maybe I'm just getting a little bit too excited and they get messed up for the shuffle, because let's be realistic. I think everyone's going to be a little bit shaken up, especially once you get that shuffle going. But we've still got one more game to go for this group. Now, the question, moving on to the next matchup, before then, actually, let's take a look at the standings very quickly to see how many points everyone got for that round, because for some of these teams, these points are very important. Now, first off, Do Easy. Yes, we've been talking a lot about this team. They take home 19 points from this round. AKO Ligers. This one's a big one because this team has a lot of catching up to do, and they managed to take home 15 points from this round, which is massive. And even Axis, this is another team that actually kind of wants to pick up some of these points. So it just seems like for this matchup, we've got a lot of teams that, especially towards the bottom of the bracket, that really needed these points. This was a good round for them.
Yeah, AKO just needs to keep this hustle up, right? Because with this win of that second spot, they do manage to replace script shots in that 15th spot, but that's the 15th spot. You want to aim for the top 12, but I guess it's a great start now, better than never, as AKO Ligers most definitely hold a lot of promise in the competition. Blacklist International managing to pick up the 4th spot, and WTG and Ego Oblivions the 5th and 6th. But, I really want to focus towards the bottom half of this leaderboard. Tactical Index, unfortunately, no surprise there, but GeekFam and Beite Esports bombing out early. That was a shocker.
Okay, hang on. Is it really a shocker that GeekFam had a really tough time in this group? I think this thing called history is coming back to, just sort of show its head and be like, we're still here.
Yesterday was the break of the crazy run. I mean, I thought
that's the dream.
Was the comeback day.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that's the dream. And
this is the nightmare.
This is the nightmare. Oh, gosh. Anyways, here are our players for this series as well. Now, coming up next, we're going to have game number 4 in just a moment, but we do need to give not just the players, but also we are going to have a little bit of a break. And that also means you wonderful viewers are also going to have a chance to go to the toilet, grab some snacks, call your friends, because once you come back to the stream and when we return, we're going to be jumping into Purgatory for groups B versus C. And I think that one's going to be a really exciting one, just because the possibility of a water circle, we've had one so far, and I'm putting my fingers here, we could potentially get another one. And it could be a very wonky one as well, right? Because the first water circle that we had today, it went in massive favor of Eastern Wolves gang because they took a massive risk. And I think for anyone that watched that round, I'm wondering if some teams are going to take a page out of Eastern Wolves' book and just be like, let's take a gamble. Let's try and go on the awkward side of the river and potentially see if it's going to go in our favor. Because most of the time, the teams never really go over there, do they? They just sort of continue to battle it out. They want to engage into each other, which you could get kills that way, but you could potentially get killed as well. But I want to hear your thoughts here very quickly, Mami, before you go for a break. I want to hear yours.
I think so far what we've seen in the past 3 games is positioning is key. For all of the members, we already kind of knew early on into the final circle who was going to win the spot. So yeah, I'm hoping for game number 4, that's going to be the same case.
AJ?
I am looking forward to the giveaway when we come back for a break. So do not make sure you don't really leave the screen, right? If you want to go grab some snacks, if you want to go to the toilet, get all of that done. I'm pretty sure you're watching it on your mobile phone. So bring your phone along with you. Bring us everywhere, because when we come back, if you miss the code, you don't really miss out, because I know your friends will be sharing it in the comment section. But yeah, you really want to download it as quick as possible.
All right, we'll see you after this.
프리파이어와 방탄소년단이 콜라보레이션을 진행하게 되었습니다.
네, 방탄소년단 스타일의 이모치가 궁금하시다면요. 네.
우리가 디자인한 코스튬을 입고 싶으신가요?
그러면 프리파이어에 접속하세요.
많은 깜짝 선물이 기다리고 있으니
프리파이어와 방탄소년단의 콜라보레이션 기대해주세요. 네, 많은 관심과 사랑 부탁드립니다.
프리파이어!
프리파이어!
Assalamualaikum. We are
BTS!
프리파이어와 방탄소년단이 콜라보레이션을 진행하게 되었습니다.
네, 방탄소년단 스타일의 이모치가 궁금하시
Can they address upon some of the most dangerous players, even radicals? Yeah!
everyone, and welcome back to the MCP Major Season 3. We are halfway through the day, and it seems that a team that starts with G is having a really rough one, as we all foresaw in the group of death. It is B versus C. It's their final game together before we move on over to A versus C, but Geek Fam are currently leading the charts, okay? That is the good news, but can they maintain their lead? Because if they're not able to really put their foot down and grab a nice placement in this upcoming matchup, they're going to be losing that first place to Blacklist.
Absolutely. 23 points of a lead that they have now, and they have got one final opportunity to continue extending this lead. But the question is, of course, will they be stopped by Vete Esports or Axis Esports, which both teams seem to be gunning for them quite hard here, Beef?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a lot and a really big target behind this team's back. So they really need to be consistent, because the past two games, they have been so-so. They've been in the middle of the pack, and obviously in that Kalahari matchup over Group C, Blacklist International definitely had a lot more points compared to them. So it's really a back and forth between these two teams. It just really matters as to who they're going to be going up against. And now the Great Shuffle is going to be up in the horizon. So this is going to spice things up, Danelli.
Yeah, and also it's the Purgatory as well, right? Some teams, they do perform better on Purgatory. We've just finished up Kalahari, so who knows what happens. If it ends up being a water circle and you have a team that's on the other side ready to go and everyone else has to take a dip, we've seen that go in favor of the team that's on the shoreline. All they're doing is shooting ducks at that point, so who honestly knows? Purgatory has its own surprises, just like Kalahari does as well. But I think Purgatory, they've got the cooler ones, if I do say so myself. But minus the water jokes. So going into Purgatory, right? Would you two ultimately say Purgatory would be, in some regards, easier to play than Kalahari? Because I feel like Kalahari, sometimes you can cheese.
No, I mean, it's just two very different play styles. Even through the gun usage, we can see, right? Close range combat, long range combat. It just depends on whichever one the teams are more comfortable with. But what are you guys comfortable with? Are you comfortable not redeeming this code down here?
Yes, please claim the code now if you would like to claim your free goodies. For people that are just tuning into the stream, if you claim that code down below, you're going to get 2 free Violet Terror gun boxes. And it's not just for you. You can share this code with your friends and family. This is not a one-time code. It can be used by everybody. Okay, it's not a first come, first serve. We don't have 10 codes. We have this one code that everybody can use. Claim the code. Don't save it either, because this code will expire at the end of today. So make sure you use it and share it now if you possibly can. But man, this is our final box giveaway for the week, guys, before we jump on over to next week. It's I can't believe it's almost week 3. We only just started already halfway through.
We did. And it's the whole new way of having 3 broadcast days within the week itself. That kind of shortens, I guess, the whole feel of the competition, but we're still having the same number of group stage days. So I guess it kind of balances out. Let's see exactly what these teams will have in store for us. Do you guys have a prediction for Purgatory when we start things off?
Ooh. Hang on, Beef, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Because I have a very short and simple answer. We don't know. Because from a while ago, WTG expert just like shocked us at the moment. So it's anyone's ballgame. And it's really just RNG that really goes into backstab you. But you know what? I want to say maybe Geek Fam, I'm going to put them in the backseat. They're probably going to have a very hard time, especially they are going up against Blacklist International. But I really want Do Easy to win another one.
You
just saying.
stole my
make
prediction.
Things more interesting.
How
Oh, really?
dare you?
Sorry.
Oh my god, so angry. Do Easy.
read
Do
your
Easy though.
mind.
All right, so it
2
looks
for
like,
Do Easy then.
yeah, 2 of us for Do Easy. AJ, quickly, what's yours?
Geek Fam.
Hey. All right, guys, I'll let you take over for our 4th game of the day on Purgatory. It's our final game today for Groups B versus C. Please take it away.
Ooh, and here we go, going again into Purgatory, where we had probably one of the most exciting matches that we've had here so far in MCP Major Season 3 in the group stages. So now that the airplane has lifted off, I don't know how propellers work in outer space, so I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not a scientist or anything, but obviously the graphics are insane here in Free Fire.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, technically, you still get to propel yourself forward just a little bit once you re-enter the atmosphere. So it's a two-pronged attack with that plane. Flight path this time round, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, going to be quite kind to all of the players as it cuts through from Scree Lodge all the way down towards Quarry, opening up the full map, including Mode House.
And now, very beautiful flight path, like what you did mention, because a while ago, I feel like it was going into the lower half of the map. So, obviously, in golf course, I feel like you're probably going to be seeing one or two teams drop over there just because of how well you can go get a lot of that loot, but also have that space. But
Mm.
for the moment, we see another team, and hopefully, we get to see what the name is, because at the moment, I can't really see who it's going to
Axis
be.
and Umbrella.
Geek Fam, there you go.
Okay, now the players at Forge, two teams here, Axis as well as Umbrella Reborn. Geek Fam dropping down towards Central, and since Stoda is not in here to play with them, Fire Brigade's going to be wide open. East and Wolves Gang not in here for the fray as well. So it's going to be all up for Geek Fam in the huge island to loot up compound to compound. But engagements on the side of Umbrella Reborn as well as Axis has not been set up just yet. But iPens, I like the fact that he's moving far away from the rest of the squad to hold on to a flank. Let's see if or not that will prove to be of any use to this squad. AKO, on the other hand, a little too close for comfort here with the players of Blacklist International. And I feel like a gunfight is going to break down in a little bit. WTG finds the players of Tactical Intex. And, Tactical Intex, they've just been suffering all throughout the competition. As Rwana finds Spreen, that's a good way to start things off. Charge Buster for the play. Tactical Intex shot now with one of the best guns out there, the Mac-10. And with all of that rate of fire, manages to find the spray down. And he goes on looking for yet another player. WTG, no name right on in front, has got the parafal in hand. Shotgun as well as AK-47 from Shooks pulls it out. Mac-10 back up. WTG out of the equation. And Tactical Intex managing to stand up to a squad without dropping a single player. Umbrella Reborn now coming in for the attack finally onto Axis Esports. Cass just a little too close to a little bit of trouble here. Neptune, Mag 7 in hand, will be able to turn around this wall and punish them. But as we find Axis, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, trying to close on the distance. Okay, Beefy's back.
Oh, yes, I'm back. Yes. Hello. So, Access Esports, obviously, they've been having a very hard time here so far in day number 3. Needs to go and pick up the points. And now for Umbrella Reborn, they've been doing a pretty good job, always at the middle of the pack, also getting a lot of these kills. So, the balance on their end is definitely going to be very impressive. And now for Access, you are going to be in that 11th spot. That's not going to be comfortable at all, especially going up against a team that has been doing a really good job here so far, especially with iPads that can really go and pop off.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And the players of Axis, they are currently in the 13th spot. Umbrella Reborn holding on to the 12th. So if Axis wants to have a chance of breaking through to the 12th spot, they really have to take this away from their opponents here. Both of them have got the exact same number of points. It's just the placements that is standing between the two teams. So it's a tough fight for both sides. Nell Handcast taken down by Neptune. What a monster! AC-80 for the strike once again. And like I said in the past, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 2 shots back to back gets you the additional damage. The guy just took down 2 players back to back. What do you got to say for that in terms of mechanical capability? Axis now really punishing the players of Umbrella Reborn. Error, the final player left in here. Hopefully it's not an error 404 by the time he's done.
Ooh, Neptune really is a player for his team that has definitely shined for Axis. But now, Geek Fam.
Headshot!
Yo, Ligers eliminated. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Execution specialist, Geek Fam. What a shot. What a play. I mean, he just held on to that shot victory, not over-aggressing, aiming for that headshot, and manages to secure it at the very same time the rest of his team members open fire as well. That was one of the smoothest execution of a squad we've seen.
That is, honestly, that was perfection. I'm so sad that we didn't get to see all of the greatness that just happened in Geek Fam. Seem like they are angry with the losses that they've had here so far in day number 3. So they are going in there hot. Not only that, but very aggressively as well. And now that they have the McLaren and really just go in there very aggressively, that's going to be very good for them. But now the circle is going to be closing in, and iPans is going to be the only person left in his team taking a look at that. But it's going to be very hard for them as Vete Esports is right above him.
place of Geek Fam not going to be disturbed anytime soon. If they do cross over and move on in towards Mount Villa or Golf Course, they will come across the players of Ego Oblivions. If they choose to double back towards Brasilia, they find Blacklist International. With the gods of RNG, they give them the zone, which means more time to think, more time to play, and more time to make the decision. So Geek Fam's not going to be pressured. We'll jump on back to them later on. Tactical Intex now taking on one of the best in the MCP Major Season 3. Do easy right in front of them. And this challenge, how will the lowest ranking squad within the leaderboards just fare against one of the best? Spade and Pablo backing away from this engagement, trying to sucker in all of the players of Tactical Intex, but Tactical Intex not falling for this just yet, Beef.
Tactical Intex already has 6 kills early on into the game. That is going to be crazy points for them, crucial points for them, and all they have to do is probably go in for the placement points as well. You know, Icon taking a lot of these shots right now, but then another team that is definitely struggling here, only barely scratching the surface for them being in that 12th spot, needs to go and pick up the points, but oh, take a look at that. Overdose only having 1. It's going to be Dad.
That outside of the zone now, but it's just the very first one, so nothing for him to worry about. But the players of Icon, they find Vete Esports as Dada tries to re-enter the safe zone. He might come across those two teams unless he goes in for a very long flank. Vete Esports, 4-bits with a very awkward glue wall, but uses the tree trunk as backup. Ritz takes Daymoon out of the equation, and Vete Esports, they try to find a flank position. The blue zone now helping them out, but Icon just a little sharper with those shots. Mio as well as Woon. Can they continue to find more? But unfortunately, they will have one player taken down on the side of Icon. Here comes the grenade. Grenade does not take the vehicle out of the equation just yet, but backstab by Flame takes McRory out of the equation, leaving 4-bits as the lone player. Time turner by Mios, but it proves to be no help at all as 4-bits manages to secure the kill. Now behind the vehicle, 4-bits now holds on. Can he recover himself before one steps up to the plate? And with the SMG, is not able to get the job done, and the auto shotgun on the side of one, just absolutely perfect in terms of that shutdown. Geek Fam, on the other hand, they find the players of Ego Oblivions. My Son taken out of the equation, but Twinkle gets brought right back into the fray. Jacob on top of this watchtower. Vickery with the finisher, potentially grenade dropped first, but a 2v1 position. Exact with a charge buster finds Jacob. Ego Oblivions, they suffer. Flame brings Mios right back into the fray. Ego Oblivions is not out just yet. My Son is still a viable player to bring the rest of the squad back.
And that's going to be very possible for them. Ego Oblivions, you know that they're going to be passive into the early game, but eventually position themselves into the late game. That's their strategy for the whole time, and especially works out when they go into the final circle, because they had a few booyahs already, just like 1 booyah to their name at the moment, and they can definitely go. No, they actually had 2 booyahs, may I add. And now for Icon, this is a team that has been struggling here so far. They also have 2 booyahs to their name, and all they need to do, push it to the circle, because it's going to be very hard as Axis is right behind him.
Axis Esports long flank, just keeping towards the edge of the zone as it closes in very so slowly. But now Icon, they find the players of Do Easy as they try to reposition themselves, so not really the best of spots. Overdose, Achap taken out by Cass. Overdose going to be in a lot of trouble right now. Full squad down to just 3 players now, but now it's an equal fight against Umbrella Reborn, a 3v3. Spade finds Mios. Icon being shut down as they enter the compound of Do Easy, and that's going to be unfortunate for them. And Do Easy, as they hold on to this, they might just be sandwiched by so many other squads out here, and Icon might be able to get away, but it's all about the timing. How much time can Icon play for their side until they get a third party to help them out? Umbrella Reborn is just beyond that hill there, Beef.
Do Easy, though, it's going to be very difficult because the other half of the team is going to be right across the river. That might be tricky if Icon can find a spot to go and hide, especially taking out Pablo and also Too Bad and Spade. That's 1. And there you go, Icon having a lot of shots already going in their favor.
Pablo, what a shot, but 1 as well as Flame. They come in here with a backup. Too Bad from the long shots, knocks 1 down onto the ground. Too Bad, can he secure the kill as well? A glue wall needs to be pulled out by one of the players on the other side. Do Easy now suffering. Too Bad as well as Jembal, 2 of the best players on the side of Do Easy, still alive and kicking, so Do Easy is not in a lot of trouble just yet, but they need to be able to secure Icon. The next zone now comes towards them as well, which means not a lot of pressure for Do Easy Easy to recover the situation, but that revival is not going to be a very viable option in the current circle that they hold on to. The backstep by Blacklist International might just put them in a very tough spot, so Do Easy needs to try to focus and perhaps even win this with the final two players that they have on their side beef.
I really don't like the play every time here in Purgatory where they split their team 2 and 2, one into the other side of the shore and one into the opposite side. It never works out really well because once your teammates get down, there's no way for you to go in for the revival. And now Icon is at the very prime spot to do a lot of damage up against Do Easy.
Yeah, and now Do Easy just holding on, barricading the little hut with all of those blue walls. But it's just going to be a back and forth skirmish. Icon, 3 players versus the 2 on the side of Do Easy. They very quickly turned that situation around. Geek Fam under fire. Blacklist International, what a shot by Lux. Knocking Exec out of the vehicle. And now the Punisher, the backstab, Groza in the hands of Cobra. Mag 7 as well. 2 of the best guns to have in your hands. Manages to catch the back of Fikri. Fikri has the long range engagement, but Cobra, Mag 7 needs to be pulled out here. He does exactly that for the final finisher. Blacklist International takes Geek Fam out of the equation. The 23 points that they need to catch up on to Geek Fam is more than possible right now.
Oh, Blacklist International, so solid. And always, Geek Fam always struggles up against Blacklist International every time they do meet early game. And now you get to see finally crossing over. The circle is going to be going closer and closer. Overdrive having 3 members to their name. Axis already getting 3 kills. So Axis for them, they just need to do what they're doing because so far they're playing passive. They don't want to see anyone at the moment. They just want to go and play for positioning, get a lot of loot, and eventually go in there for the kill. But with just one more person up in the horizon, Ego Myson and Twinkle as well, maybe they can be passive as well and just play for placement points.
Oh, my son now needs the help of Axis. Axis! Just drives through tactical index, back to back. Ravana and Shot taken down by the one and only Corpse, who continues ravaging all of them. And Axis, they've just helped out Ego Oblivions, because with that, the players of tactical index now all distracted as Axis goes back to back to back for those slays. If one player left, and he manages to take Neptune out with a charge buster, pulls out the Type Turner as well for that viability out there. Survival is still possible. Leaf has got 2 of the medkit on him, cannot waste it, needs to play this well, but gets taken out by the safe zone. How anticlimactic of a fight, but Axis Esports, what an ambush!
Oh, the ambush was just prime, and Neptune definitely spearheaded his way. And I don't know how many kills the guy has, but definitely that's going to be a lot. But now Blacklist International takes out Axis Esports just like that, doing a really good time to go and third party the house down. And now the circle looking very sus at the moment. Too uncomfortably close to the water, and especially with Blacklist International, they don't want to be where Geek Fam was a while ago up against EWG.
Oh, Icon. Icon now just needs to double back towards a better compound. Umbrella Reborn in a really stacked position. They don't really need to over-aggress, but look at them as they step on up, because Overdose comes in with the pressure. The backstab, Time Turner, a double one pulled out. Dada gets sprayed down onto the ground. Umbrella Reborn taken out of the equation by Overdose Esports. No surprise there. And now Overdose takes over the prime position, the edge of this circle, very far away from those waters, those troubled waters where all of the other teams can go in and fight and thin the herd down.
And now thinning the herd down is definitely something that Blacklist International has been doing. The amount of kills that they've had already so far is definitely crazy, especially getting rid of their top competitors, which is Geek Fam. And so now Icon, they have been doing a great job, especially going up against like the other team from across Do Easy. And now it's all up to them to try and go and make a difference up against Blacklist International.
Blacklist International needs 23 points to catch up with Geek Fam. Can they get those 23 within this match in itself and keep 2 more games for the remainder and continue picking those up? Overdose, Dada hasn't been sprayed onto the ground just yet. Reski will be able to pick his team member right back up, but needs to play that time right now. Do Easy gets eliminated from the equation as Icon strikes. Ego Oblivion's taken out of the equation as well. Zapnu has got the grenade launcher in hand, goes out for a couple of pops. Time Turner banner has to be pulled out here. Cobra manages to pull out instead the glue wall, and the charge buster is more than enough for Cobra to get the final kill onto Rezgi. And Blacklist International, 13 kills so far, looking for that booyah. But it is Icon who are the first ones inside of the next circle. Cobra takes down one glue wall flame down on the ground. Zapnu now has to make full use of that grenade launcher, has the long range viability as well. Phoenix dropping up his health little by little. One flame as well doing the exact same. But with Icon now holding on to the circle, they have to focus on not wasting their glue walls, beef.
Absolutely, and this is what we keep seeing a while ago into our last Purgatory matchup, and Icon only has a few left, as you can see here, one only having two, and it's a good thing they're applying that pressure going into Blacklist International. Double pressure for Blacklist International because they are going to be outside of the zone, and finally, slowly but surely, they go in there. Blacklist International finally gets another booyah here, tying down the total booyahs up against Geek Fam into a 4-4, and what a game for them. And this is basically a game that's basically going to put them into the top spot.
They needed 23, and I believe they picked up 28 points. What a run by the players of Blacklist International to find that #1 spot yet again. With 2 more games to go, Geek Fam not gonna be too happy with their performance in here today, but that's exactly how the leaderboards at the MCP Major Season 3 changes from day to day to day. You can never pin one team to hold on to a spot because of how close the competition is between all of the squads out there, beef.
I mean, I feel like it's just, apart from the team chemistry, right? It's just so different when you're actually playing with your teammates when you're right in front of each other. You got the comms down. You don't have to worry about latency when it comes to like those comms, let's say on Discord or whatsoever. And I feel like that will definitely add to the team chemistry as well. So again, going into the highlights of the game, it's just Blacklist International all across the board. Every single team that they meet, they just run over them.
Yeah, and you know, you brought up a great point there, but there's also another one with the passion of those screams, as you can hear your team members get tense. You can hear them, you know, just all clench up in a tense moment. But with all of those calls back to back, you also feed off of all of that adrenaline and passion from your team members, right? And I feel like Blacklist International really plays that to their advantage. Beijing Esports this time around, they really weren't able to cut much out. Orange with those early nades on, they just really couldn't find much. But Beijing Esports were the unluckier ones because Geek Fam, they still continued to run in this match for quite a while.
And it really just paid off for Blacklist International just to be aggressive. They were pretty aggressive, and they did it so well. Geek Fam didn't know how to respond to that aggression. And also for Do Easy, I feel like that's another point where I would want to take up. It's never really a good idea to split your team up like that, especially with a river in between you. And Icon just absolutely took advantage of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And Do Easy, they just didn't know exactly where the circle was going to lead us, whether it's the left or the right-hand side of the water. And they take the worst decision ever, which is what you pointed out, Beef, splitting the team up. And they pay such a high price for it, right? In moments like this, you really need to play it like Blacklist International on the other hand. Just try to pull that long flank over, try to cross the waters only after you are super confident with the positioning. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's bring Danny right back in here to the panel. What do you think, Danny, with Blacklist International taking that #1 spot back?
I was just going to say, Blacklist is back, baby. They are back in #1. If anything, they'd be pretty happy with themselves, right? Like, #1, #2, the placements, it's like whatever. But pride-wise, mentality-wise, I think if anything, you're feeling pretty good. And a lot of teams are going to ride off that emotional momentum, right? Like, if you're feeling good, you're going to play even better because you're going to be in the right mindset. But we've seen some teams where they take a bit of a beating. You can see that when they play, you can see a little bit of hopelessness, right? Like they'll just see the situation, it might be bad, and then it's like, it's not a good feeling to sort of play like that. I think if anyone,
you by any chance speaking about tactical index?
I think that's probably a prime example of a team that might be a little bit down in positioning, but it could just be saving strats. No, you could be saving strats. You just gotta be positive sometimes.
That's the excuse that we're always gonna give to the teams that aren't really doing good. Yeah, they're just saving strats.
Tactical index.
Just watch them
last.
Let them prove us wrong, right? Just watch. Yeah. It's like next couple weeks, and all of a sudden it's a tactical index. It's like, hey boys, we're in this party too. It's like, oh god, we have doubted them the whole time.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed
it is like that.
But that's going to be it basically for teams in Group B. They've concluded all their matches for this week, so they're going to be on the sidelines for not just these next 2 matches just as spectators, but they won't play until next week. So
Yeah.
I think this is sort of a good way to end the weekend for Group B, right? You just end the day after your groups, just see what the competition is like, see where you sort of fall in line, and then figure out what's going to happen for the rest of the week, right? Look at placements, like what do you need to practice in your scrims? Is it more about team coordination? Do you need to change your overall play style? Are you going to spend more time learning where the other teams drop, right? Because of course, we haven't really seen too many teams do hot drops on top of each other. And I feel like at some point, I think this has to happen, because if you don't, we know how some teams just blow up once they have a very, very smooth opening.
Now that's a GG, isn't it, Danny? I mean, you were
Yeah.
thinking, not just you, both of us were thinking that Blacklist International would be able to get it done. I forgot that Geek Fam picked up points for themselves as well. They picked up 7 points, so that's mathematically impossible for Blacklist International to pick up the #1 spot. But
They've got 2 more games. 2 more games.
yeah, 2 more games and 2 points to go.
And then all of a sudden, they're just like, oh, we can't do 2 points now. Sorry, next week. And we're just like, Pikachu face. All right. Who knows? I think they could be just taking us for a ride, you know? They're just like, oh, look, the casters are excited. Nah.
GG, that was such a GG.
All right, let's take a look at the brackets very quickly just to sort of see where everyone is. And of course, Geek Fam, they're going to be top of the charts, but of course, only 2 points ahead of Blacklist. And Blacklist have 2 more games to go, so we could potentially see a bit of a change there.
Yeah.
What are the chances of Do Easy making it to second? Probably nil. I don't think there's any way you can get 50-ish points in 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Hard to Get has more of an opportunity to overcome Do Easy into that 3rd spot. You take
I
a
don't
look at
think
that,
so.
16 points, and you got 2 more games to go. So I feel like it's very possible for Hard to Get to overtake Do Easy for this week, but knowing Do Easy, they can most likely flip a switch.
I have a feeling Do Easy going to sort of run away with it. I don't think it's going to be that easy for Hard to Get to pass Do Easy, because we've seen Do Easy, right? Even though they might not come first, second, or third, they'll always end up somewhere in the middle of the pack, so they're consistently getting points. So for Hard to Get to overtake them, not only do they need to get how many 16 points, they also have to offset any extra points that Do Easy pick up as well, which is really tough up here.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it happens. It could potentially happen. They can always prove us wrong. You know, Caster's Curse, it's a real thing. So so something to take into consideration. But the bottom end of the bracket, I mean, it's a really close race here. From all the way from Icon to VT Esports. Oh, still got some rounds to go. I'm really excited to see where that goes. But in terms of other things, here's the player data for the round that we've just concluded. So Cobra and Phoenix, both from Blacklist International, are going to be topping the charts with 6 and 5 kills. And then we're going to have 1 from Icon. And then Tactical Intex actually making it to the board for once, actually coming in here with Leif. So I think that's going to be a spark there for Tactical Intex. But is this spark enough to keep the dream alive for the team?
Great question, right? I mean, the saving grace is now they're about 10 points away from WTG Expert, so maybe, just maybe, this next 2 matches that are remaining in here will be the first time the Tactical Intex breaks away from that 18th spot. And that could be the start of something very, very beautiful in the second half of the competition for the group stages.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty exciting, because then all of a sudden you've got another team that's in the running for top 12, and all of a sudden it's like a big rat race between 6 teams to try and make it to top 12, which we love those. We really love those.
Yeah.
So we're going to say goodbye firstly to Group B. They're basically done, but they'll probably join all of us in the spectator seats, so that's really not that big of a deal. We're going to now turn our attention to the teams in Groups A and C, because these are the final 2 games for today and our final 2 groups to play. And I think there are a couple things that we're going to have to sort of keep an eye out for in this group. I think the big one, of course, we know is that Blacklist. They're basically racing to first. All they need are 2 points. I say only, but who knows what else could possibly happen. But I'm going to start with Beef. With these 2 groups, is there any other teams that we sort of need to keep an eye on that need to pick up points to sort of climb the ladder here?
Well, I feel like Bloody Head, they've been struggling today, and I know that they are into the ninth spot, which is not comfortable. I mean, I'm looking at points that they could have racked up in the past few games to kind of have a more comfortable lead in going into the top 12. So I definitely want to see Bloody Head and also Todak as well. I mean, we already know the hard to get. They've been doing fine. They're good. Todak, they're okay, but I feel like they can go a little bit higher into the ranks.
AJ, are there any teams that you're sort of looking out for?
Yes, ma'am. Two teams. I have got my eyes on Axis Esports as well as Ego Oblivions. They are sitting down in the 11th and 12th spot, way too close to those who are in the 13th, 14th, and 15th placement. So this is their opportunity with these two games just to run away as far as possible so that they're just not continuously in this limbo of relegation, right? So this is the time that they really need to put in the effort.
Yeah, it's a time where we're going to figure out whether these teams will sink or swim. We've got 22 seconds until the match begins. Although, to be completely honest, I don't think you can really sink in Kalahari unless there's some quicksand here. So I guess you'll just sort of run away with the game then, right? Since you can't sink or anything. But it's going to be Kalahari. It's a very dry, very deserted, very, very tall map. We're possibly going to be seeing a lot of teams sitting on the cliffs looking for those kills. But while that's all happening, I'm going to throw it over to my wonderful casters, Beef Mommy and AJ. Please take it away for game number 5 of the day.
Thank you very much, Danley. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again back up on the flight of Kalahari as we swoop on in from outer space into Earth's atmosphere once again. Flight Kalahari would like to remind everyone that this is the second last match of the day. So if you really want to pop off, now's the time.
Yeah, and now's the time, definitely, because you only have 2 matches left to go and rack up the points. Kalahari, Purgatory, but right now, obviously, we are going to be at the very dry, sandy, and like what Danelli said a while ago, there might be some quicksand for a lot of these teams for them to go and sink. And I'm hoping that the teams who are really wanting to break into the top 12 can go and rise up to the occasion.
Vete Esports picking up on Stone Ridge. They do not have to worry about the players of Geek Fam interfering anymore. Groupies not going to be playing. Hard to get over at a very smooth spot for themselves at confinement. And they will be disturbed by Axis a little bit later on. But I'm really not comfortable with the players of Tactical Intex picking up on Council Hall because, you know, Tactical Intex, I would prefer for them to drop in towards the middle part of the map because a lot of the moments where they do get taken down is when they try to rotate in towards the center of the map. And if you're going to drop towards the center already, yes, it's a little bit of a hot spot, but, you know, lesser of movements to deal with. Axis Esports kind of spotting them out early, but thankfully, H2G is there. Hard to get now. Knocking Corps down onto the ground, taking advantage of those initial shots that Axis were chipping away at Tactical Intex, and Axis has been punished very, very early on, and they cannot run away anywhere. It's either script shots or Blacklist International. There is a slight opening between the two teams, but Axis is in a very, very dangerous spot right now, Beef.
Oh, Axis, you need to pick up the points because 11th place, that is not comfortable. And now, Axis Esports needs to go and make a different play here. And it's a good thing the pickup did finally come through, because they really just come back. So that's going to be very important points for them, and they shouldn't waste another chance for them to go and make it to the push. And now, taking a look at the map that we have over here, you need to see, and this is basically like the bigger story for what is going to happen to the final circles. You need to see who will get allowed the loot. And now I'm taking a look at Blacklist International, taking a look at the Bayfront gameplay here. Not only that, Bloody Heads, you will definitely know that these guys, they're going to be packed when it comes to utilities. So that's going to be very important, and especially like we've seen a while ago in the Purgatory game where it's all up to the glue walls to go and make the biggest of difference. And now for them, they need to go and collect everything else. And I feel like for ITX, this is one thing that they struggle with, especially the early engagements that they use, knowing that they don't really have that much utility.
Yeah, Leaf has got a great opportunity here, but he does not go in and take those shots, trigger discipline. But Leaf is going to be in a lot of trouble. Thankfully, he has the P90 on himself, one of the best guns in the game in terms of rate of fire. But unfortunately, Too Fast GG has got the charge buster, and he busts Leaf out of the equation. But thankfully, grappling hook on the side of Shooks. Shooks finds Vegeta. Vegeta avoids those shots, runs into the compound either way. UMP in the hands of Shooks will be able to spray down the players of Axis, but he's stuck all alone now. Back up from the rest of the players of Tactical Index is not on him. Shad as well as Rewana, they need to find that backup right now, or he's gonna run out of time.
And time is all that they need. Time is definitely going to be essential. Now with ITX, with one person down, they definitely can take advantage of the situation where Axis, they need to play differently. Because at the moment, it's going to be ITX. They are very readable. They can definitely do another play. And they do have the upper hand of getting the rooftop access. So it's all up to Sukes to try to do a different play here.
Rewana has the XM8, which means he's got the 2x scope, very stable gun, not a lot of recoil to deal with. And he should be able to take the shots from afar, but that's the weakness here. Rewana is trying to play this from afar, whereas his team member needs his backup up close and personal. The two players on the side of Tactical Intex really not strategizing well here, and they can't even back away from the situation as Axis Esports will be looking for the finisher. Shook does have the grappling hook on him. Question is, where can he grapple onto? It gives you a double jump, but this needs to be played very, very safely from Shook. Look at him holding onto the angle, manages to get out of the compound, one grenade in hand. Does he waste it? Goes in for the pop, finds no one, absolutely blows his cover as well. The players now on the side of Axis knows where he is, but he immediately grapples onto the roof once again. Great play from Shooks, but it's an absolute waste of the grenade, which I am not a fan of.
That's so true. It's a wasted opportunity. He could have taken out two members from Axis, and after that, the information, they could have just infiltrated as a team. I like the positioning, yes, but that grenade could have been a really good game changer. So for the moment, Axis Esports, they just need to sit down. And for ITX, I think they need to have a little bit more backup for Sioux.
The Tactical Index gonna be in a lot of trouble if the players of Hard to Get come in here for the long flank, hearing those gunshots. And if Hard to Get gets here, they will find the backstab onto Shad as well as Rewana. Easy game for them. And then the finisher onto Axis together with Shooks as well. This is a great position for the players of Hard to Get, but it's all about decision making now. Do they want to be the third party? Do they want to take advantage of the situation? Shad backs away, and I feel like this is one of the best decisions he can make for himself as well as his squad. He needs to play the game of survival. But as we talk about the backstab, here it is. Jay-Z, led by Shadow and Insane, very slowly closing that distance. Shad will be able to meet them, and it's good that Shad has been able to back away first because he will be able to send that information back to the players of Tactical Intex. What they do with that information, on the other hand, I don't know, because it's not really a lot of room for them to react to that information since Axis is holding on to that compound in front of them. But at least they know exactly what's coming.
Exactly, and now H2G looks like they want to go in for the third party. It's very possible if they do want to engage, and I feel like they just have to go in position, and they don't even have to move that much. They can basically just wait for ITX to go into their territory, not try to give up every single one of their players, and just wait there very patiently. Now, we're taking a look at Todak at the moment, and now Spark just trying to see if he can get one person there, but no, doesn't quite get it. He does take some shots.
Ego Oblivions, one of the teams that we are keeping our eyes on, who are sitting down in the 11th position so far. Together with Axis Esports, they share 184 points. They need to run far, far away towards the top of the leaderboard so they don't consistently sit down in the relegation zone. Ares will be able to find Leaf finally, and Hard to Get shutting down Leaf, and I don't know exactly where that came from, because Leaf, didn't he just get brought back on the revival point?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really good that they were able to bring him back just right in the nick of time. And now for my side and for here, Ego Oblivions, this guy has been really good for his team, taking a lot of damage. But so far, he's having a pretty hard time getting rid of Spark. But all he needs to do is just wait for his health bar to go down. And there you go, finally. Twinkle gets one as well. I actually thought it was going to be my son getting that kill.
Twinkle, twinkle, my sun star. No, I'm just kidding. Shooks. Glue wall pulled up, and this is that backstab we were talking about. Finally, it all breaks down. Ares finds Shooks. Shooks falls off of that roof. Is that kill going to go over to Axis? Look at Shadow, not wanting to let it go. Brings the grenade out. Oh, Steel. Steel coming through from Axis, but they immediately back away. Ares should be able to secure the kill for himself, and yes, he does manage to get it. And now the players of Hard to Get bringing on the pressure against Axis. Axis with Too Fast GG and the Charge Buster should be able to respond well. UMP key in their hands as well. And the players of Hard to Get, they have to set this up very, very strongly. Insane with the backstab, needs to find a player, but Avery steps on forth with the M1887. Double barrel shotgun, gets the first knock. Shadow finds too fast GG with the grenade, and that's how you use a grenade tactical intax. Access Esports eliminated from the fray. Hard to Get with 6 kills from the get-go. What a play.
Oh yes, and that's how you go and infiltrate this building and Axis. Just really, unfortunately, 2 teams trying to go and come for them, but unfortunately for them, at the very end, it was H2G that really does take the cake in this matchup.
GG.
ITX, you better listen to what we're saying. That's how you go and infiltrate a building. You need to go in there very aggressively because you only have 1 person going up against, what, 3 members. If you have 2 other members up in that high spot, you won't get any kind of damage whatsoever, especially with that failed grenade play. And now, we're going into Beta Esports that has been struggling in this day here so far, and hopefully they get a lot of kills.
Well, thank you for coming, Rewana, but Shad is still alive and kicking, and he's very close to a revival point, so should be able to bring the rest of his team members back. Abandons his vehicle out in the open and chooses to sit down inside of a watchtower instead. Hopefully that's going to be the right decision for him as he tries to bring the rest of his team members back into the fray. Hard to Get now, holding on to a cliff. He's got the the vantage point on himself to strike onto the players of Script Shots. Jomblo as well as Lens get caught out, and an immediate shutdown by Shadow. Look at that anticipation. Look at the patience coming through as well. And the AC-80 with the double shot on target gets that extra bit of damage, and Jomblo down onto the ground. Script Shots, they need to find a way to pick their teammate right back up here. Gear, the glue wall gets taken down. Shadow exposed, and the players of Script Shots, they try to attack back as best as possible. McRory takes Insane out of the equation from the side of Hard to Get. Where is Vete Esports hitting from?
Oh, we're not seeing what's happening in that part of the map, but let's take our eyes onto Hard to Get.
Where
And
is
now
McRory?
Insane is going to be going down. McRory is actually popping off. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what? We don't see him at all.
He's hitting Hard to Get, but Hard to Get's busy with the players of Script Shots. McRory taking all of those invisible shots and putting the hurt onto Hard to Get. That backstep seems to be perfect, but Hard to Get is still very hyper-focused onto the players of Script Shots. Shy taken down. Parents will be the next one. Aries, can he get his shot done right? Script Shots taken out of the equation by Hard to Get, but the fight doesn't stop. Vete Esports, they continue with all of the shots. Finally, we get eyes on them. Vete Esports very close to the players of Tactical Index. Shot, the one lone player, should be able to take the backstep and distract the players of Vete Esports, but McRory with those long shots will be able to find the hit with the Scar. What a shot. Low recoil, super balanced gun, and he uses that to perfection.
McRory looking like he's finally awake from his slumber, and that is the shots that we like to see from this man. And now for Vete Esports, they have been doing a good job here in the early matchup. Finally gets 1, and finally getting 3 to his name. McRory getting 1 more. He is on a rampage.
Moon, can he get the kill? Yes, he does. Gets the knock onto Shadow, and then the finisher as well. Hard to Get. They were looking for that number 3 spot, but it looks like that number 3 spot is quite hard to get. No pun intended. I'm sorry for that joke. It was quite lame, but it was quite funny at the same time, Beef.
I like the timing. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. You know what? That was pretty impressive to me. I love that wordplay that we always get to have. But you know what? Speaking of getting things that you really wanted, that's very difficult. You know, it's really refreshing to see Beta Esports finally performing, and I'm excited to finally get to see him go up against Blacklist International, which, by the way, has still 0 kills with 11 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, you said it right there, right? They still have a lot of time left in here. Jay-Z bringing back Aries as well as Shadow. Hard to Get, still a viable team within this competition. But now, Toda catching 1 player on the side of Hard to Get as they all jump on into the fray. Can they shut down Toda, or will Toda find those kills on them? Currently, they are all distracted by Orange Esports, who are across trying to get through from Foundation. Players of Hard to Get from the back. Ames manages to find Goku. Hard to Get, backstab time, but they don't really have a lot of weapons on them. Aries, can he get this with the secondary pistol? Not really for the pop. Chill manages to get Aries. Chill takes him out of the equation as well. Jay-Z is there with the Buster, but the Charge Buster's not going to be able to serve the team up well because the rest of them just cannot fight Toda with the way they are. Not a lot of loot on them, Beef.
Ah, that's just so unfortunate, even though that they were revived just like that. They were eliminated so early on. Tactical Intakes already out of the equation. And we really wanted this team to perform,
Mm.
but they're just having such a difficult time. And now, speaking of a team that is not having a really good time, it's Do Easy again. They might have a pretty hard time going up against Bloody Heads, but Kaloy going down. Bloody Heads versus Do Easy. This is a really good matchup. I feel like they're level on skills.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do Easy now as they try to shut down the players of Bloody Heads. Mark, the lone survivor left on in here. Can he do anything for the team? Spark brings Chill right back into the equation. A good grenade by Mark just to stop Too Bad in his steps, but unfortunately for him, it bounces off of the wall, not really hurting the players who are on that pursuit. Mark drops the beat, gets the boost in speed, but that's not going to help him out because right in front of him stands Ego Oblivions. So Mark is caught between a rock and a very hard place, that rock being Do Easy, that hard place being Ego Oblivions, and he shall stand there at the side of the cliff with two long-range guns, and if anybody steps up close, CQC, we can say bye-bye Mark, good night.
But then knowing that guy, he can definitely go and clutch it up. We've seen it before, especially from
Oh,
far away. So he should always make that difference. EWG though, Kaizen
Ooh,
goes
Huda.
in there. At least they really like the water.
Huda.
And then one's gonna be going down though.
Huda.
Bloody Head's already eliminated, so that's good. But taking a look at that, God Nade takes one. Doesn't really quite do a lot of the damage that they wanted.
Oh, they drop in two of the flash freezes. That hurts the players of Toda little by little. Pedro down onto the ground. Hard to get, gets eliminated from the equation by Ames. Toda goes in for the strike once again. Ames, final player left in here, and it looks like Toda is gonna come to the final moments of their own run in this particular matchup as well. But Ames tries to find one final kill before he gets taken out, but a good blue wall pulled out by his opponent. Ames now flirting with the edge of the zone as he tries to climb up on top of the barricades of the bridge. I think he might be able to find a good zone for himself, but as the lone player, he needs to stay super silent.
He needs to be hidden. And if he was planning on going up in that steel bridge, probably not the best of ideas, because he will definitely be a moving target right there. So, and now for Blacklist International, they only have 3 members left. So that is going to spell really good up against Do Easy right now. That has a very good vantage point. But knowing Blacklist International, they can definitely go and perform even though they are at a disadvantage. But Phoenix going down is going to be very easy to go in there for the pickup.
Even if Phoenix and the rest of the players of Blacklist International, kaput right now, it's not really going to be a problem. They need 2 points. They've got 2 kills. GGWP. Still a viable spot for them to pick up the #1 place, and nobody else is close enough to challenge them. So that's all Blacklist International is kind of focusing on here, and they should be able to pull it off. But what in the world? How did Blacklist International take Do Easy out of the equation? They were not even in a great position to do so.
Well, it's because Vete Esports was also giving some shots into Do Easy. So they did have the upper hand of getting that height advantage, but that also makes them a target for everyone else that's going to be at the very bottom. McCrory though, 5 kills. In total, 8 for Vete Esports. And this man is just absolutely crazy. Here we go. The nades that we really like to talk about when it comes to this man.
And let's see if or not Vete Esports will show us a little bit of their style. I think they've been listening into the broadcast, and McCrory has got a statement for us. Blacklist International, 5 kills in here so far. Vete Esports, one of the best out of the Philippines, coming in here for the strike. Backstab from Daymoon, manages to find Lux GG, and the players of Vete Esports non-stop as they find one after the other. One final player on the side of Blacklist International in the name of Cobra. 3 kills in here so far. Can he take on Daymoon? Manages to find one, shuts him down, but the backstab out of Vete Esports as they find the booyah, and they show us that they're not down just yet.
Oh, we love to see the comeback here of Vete Esports, and that's what we've seen into the Philippine qualifiers, really brought into finally MCP Major Season 2. Vete Esports, my goodness, AJ, they just look like the old them, and it's McCrory all over again. It's the McCrory game. He had, what, 6 kills or maybe even more?
Yes, ma'am. It's going all the way. Look at that smile. Cheeky little smile. Vete Esports. There is no way in hell. We have been seeing their usual gameplay. They've been holding back. They've been testing the waters. They want to set up a great grand finals for themselves, but they cannot flirt with danger a little bit too much here as they go out in search of those questions, in search of those answers to some of those tough questions because of the quality that we have within the MCP Major Season 3. One wrong move and you're not able to make a comeback. Why? Because the other teams just go ahead to step it up and you've just played around way too much. Wayte Esports need to wake up, and the halfway point of the competition, the best time to do so.
I think I'm starting to believe that statement that you made that they're hiding the strats, man. This is like a complete 180 of what happened into the first week and now the later half of the second week. So pretty impressed what we've seen here so far. But one thing that concerns me, right, for Wayte Esports, we know that McCrory is going to be such a force to be reckoned with, but they might be too reliant on this guy. 4Bids, yes, he does a good job at those long-range engagements, but it's really McCrory that every time he pops off, that's when they get the booyah.
Yeah, I cannot help but agree, and it most of the time is because of the opener by McCrory, right? And all of those perfect grenade shots that he usually shows us in the competition is just not really popping off all that too much this time round. But of course, if he can be one of those viable players who survives all the way down towards the final zone, together with a grenade launcher, then you know as a guarantee, Wayte Esports is going to be picking up the booyah for themselves. They've done it once, and now the question is, can they continuously repeat this? On that note, let's welcome Danily right back to the panel.
Oh boy, Wayte Esports. I'm not sure what actually happened with his team, but I think they may have actually come alive. The lion has awoken. They're no longer sleeping in their den. They're not chilling. They're just like, hibernation's over, but lions don't hibernate. But they're hungry, right? They're hungry.
Yes, they don't. They sleep a lot. They sleep a lot.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
Like,
Sometimes
pseudo hibernation. Let's do for that, right?
You know, a lot of people usually think that the male, lion, they usually don't really go out and hunt. But very recently, a research has shown they don't really hunt, food for their pack. But what they do is they keep the rest of the pack, they keep the females, they keep their babies safe from hyenas. The male lions, they go out hunting for hyenas. And it looks like that's the version of Wayte Esports we have gotten this time round, guys.
Oh, beautiful. The more you know. I feel like AJ is just like an encyclopedia. The more you know.
Animal Planet.
Today's fact of the day. Animal. I was going to say Nat Geo. But yeah, I mean, just like,
Animal Planet.
honestly, so much information today. And I'm so glad we get to not only learn about the game, but learn about the world around us as well.
Now, speaking of learn, let's take a look very quickly at the post-match standings for the match that we just witnessed. And Wayte Esports take home 24 points for their second last game of the day. Oh, delicious points for this team as well, because they really want to have a break, right? They want to basically just say, we want to be in a safe position for top 12 where we don't have to worry about getting potentially eliminated. And they're one step closer to that. 24 points is a lot for this team. In the meantime, we do have other teams that picked up a number of points. Todak in particular, I think this team has sort of been under the radar today. We haven't seen much from Todak at all. Blacklist, 15, number 1. I don't think it really gets much better for this team.
Wayte Esports with the 24 points, they jumped up from the 14th spot all the way into the 8th position. How's that for climbing the leaderboards, right? But of course, it's expected because of how close all of these teams are to each other. If they want to still be a strong, viable team in the competition, they have to find yet another strong round. Now, they are 21 points behind Overdose Esports. If they can find yet another booyah in a spectacular fashion, I'll start believing once again. McCrory, this time round, he hits, and he hits absolutely hard. The balanced low recoil scar is the weapon of choice for him. And with that low recoil and his mechanical supremacy, he manages to hit 4 headshots. And aims, I have to say, is a little bit more impressive with the AC-80. You get those double shots, you get the extra damage, but 4 headshots out of the 5 kills that he gets shows you exactly how good he is and exactly why he's called aims.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting actually, because just looking at those player standings, we actually had 3 Filipino players
Yeah.
Right? We're so used to seeing all the Malaysian players hogging that leaderboard, but it's actually really good to finally see, you know, the Filipinos stepping it up. It's not really late into the competition, but finally stepping up and being able to compete with the Malaysian teams.
Yeah.
After that matchup, actually, we do have one of our other races that we're keeping tabs on, right? So the other race that we're keeping tabs on is Hard to Get and Do Easy.
Yep.
So right now, Hard to Get were, I think last time we saw them, 16 points under Do Easy. Now, from that match alone, Hard to Get were able to put together 13 points, but Do Easy picked up 9. So they were looking at a 4-point advantage, but they're going to have to put in another 12 points.
Yeah.
It's still a pretty tough race, or at least a very close race between these two horses in particular. What are the chances of actually Hard to Get being able to take over Do Easy on this final map, though? I mean, it's close, but I think it's too close.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, right? 12 points is very possible as long as they can secure a booyah for themselves and, of course, pick up a fair or a healthy amount of kills. But the problem here is it's against Do Easy. And they also have to make sure that Do Easy at the very same time does not perform. What do they want to do? Do they want to hot drop Do Easy, take them out of the equation? It's possible, but it's a risk.
Drop, because what are the chances of you trying to hot drop a potential team and it turns out they just decided to change spots for that game? What are the chances of that actually happening?
Very, very low.
You think so?
Yes.
Considering how close
No,
it
it's
is?
high. I feel like Beta Esports might pull the same strings that they had going up against Geek Fam and maybe even Blacklist International going into that Kalahari game, possibly.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Anyways, it looks like we're going to be jumping into our final game of the day. A versus C. Take it away, Beef Mommy and AJ.
Ooh, here we go, finally into the sandy dunes of Kalahari, and I would love to see that. No, I'm just kidding, it's purgatory. It's purgatory. I'm just kidding. It was just a test, and obviously you guys won. But anyway, over
You
here,
mean they failed? They believed you.
They believed me. Ha! Joke's on you, I guess. But anyway, day number 3, we're finally ending things into this lovely map, and this is where things are going to turn around for a lot of the teams here.
Axis, very, very quick drop into its ski lodge, and Bloody Head's gonna be there as well. And this is what I guess I don't like about Axis, with the fact that they continuously try to hot drop some of these teams in search of some of these kills. And you know, the potential of getting punished is most definitely there. Yes, although Axis is dropping on in a little bit early, you can see Too Fast GG getting sprayed down by the UMP, courtesy of the players of Bloody Heads. Shanks now closing down the distance yet another time, trying to pull down. Shanks gets the second. Vegeta manages to spray him right back down, but they do have the viability of picking him right back up. 2 more players left on the side of Axis. They need to step out of the defenses. Corpse now takes the opportunity, but he gets two-partied. Morgana with the backstab with the secondary shotgun. And that's what you get, Axis, when you choose to hot drop a team and put yourself in a 50-50 position. In a map like Purgatory, where so many of these compounds are out and available for the drop, they just choose to go in searching for early kills, and they find themselves getting shut down instead. Script Shots taking their early engagements against Toda as well. This does not seem like it's going to end well for these boys.
Oh yeah, Todak definitely is going to have a very hard time. As you can see, the Script Shots are definitely going to be taking a lot of these shots left, and there you go, really big shots for them. But this is going to be a 2v2 situation at the moment. You can see such big kills. Script Shots doing such an amazing job, and it's Said that can go and make a really big difference. Farron as well. He's going to be very quiet here, so he can go in there for the pickup and for the heal, but he wants to make sure that everyone else from this balcony will be gone. There you go, and speaking of gone, Todak says bye-bye. The first team to just go in. What is happening here? Everything's topsy-turvy.
GGWP. I mean, you gotta see the luck of Script Shots as well, where they drop in, they get their double vectors, they get the MAC-10 as well. And for me, the MAC-10 is quickly becoming my most favorite gun within the game, especially for those hot drop situations. The MAC-10 doesn't really have a lot of those long-range or mid-range engagement ability, but it has got amazing fire rate, and close range is an absolute annihilator. And they get those guns. They get the perfect weaponry to shut down Toda early game. And Toda, just like Axis, will be regretting that hot drop. And, you know, in situations like that, it very much much is based on luck beef. Who gets the gun first? Who gets the better gun in terms of the gods of RNG just placing it out in the open for them?
And unfortunately for Todak, they did not get the chance to get all of those weapons. So now they do say bye-bye so early on. And even though they are the favorites in this team, and
Yeah.
that's so difficult to see because a lot of these fans, they just really expect Todak to really pick up the pace. And so far, they've been struggling here. So with 3 Booyahs, though, it's still very possible for them, especially going into the shuffle. But for today, we're not going to be seeing them anymore. So taking a look at the team that we are seeing on your screen, EWG. They had a pretty solid win a while ago in Purgatory as well. So let's see if they can do the same thing here.
This is now a even better chance for the side of Hard to Get to look for a booyah. 2 top flight teams have been taken out. Okay, I can't call Axis a top flight team at the moment, but Axis most definitely a dangerous team within the final zone. They've been taken out of the equation very, very quickly, and now Thoda, one of the aggressors of the final zone, taken out as well. It really puts teams like Hard to Get in a much better position, and the spot that they now hold on to, they're not going to be aggressed by anybody else at all. Central is being held on by script shots, so that could be a skirmish that breaks down a little bit towards the later end, but Lumber Mill is going to be the spot where they hang out at, and since they've got the zone together with them as well, the players of Hard to Get don't really need to do much right now.
Yeah, they don't need to do much because they just sit there in Lumber Mill, and not only that, they have so much loot already. Probably one of the best spots that you can get that loot. So the only group that they have to worry about is script shots, and I don't think that's going to be much of an issue because they're going to be very distracted going up against Ego. So Ego, they need to go and regroup because Twinkle is just a little bit too far.
Twinkle, a twinkle, littlest. No, I'm not going to do it now.
How I wonder where you are. Why
What?
are you on the side of the mountain?
Oblivions running away as quickly as they can from the players of Eastern Wolves gang. Good decision, but them breaking up way too far away from each other, not really my cup of tea in terms of positioning. But let's see exactly what will help them play the game of survival. Orange Esports running away or running towards the next safe zone. The blue zone just leaving them out in the dust. Jebat as well as Decos inside of the vehicle together with Goku. I don't think this is going to be a game that Orange Esports succumbs early with the position that they are holding on to here, because even as they rotate in towards the next circle, it doesn't seem like they will be having a lot of challenges.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy for them to go in and get some loot because the first circle obviously is not going to be giving you a lot of pain. So it's very smart for them to try and not engage. So the passive play going in from Orange Esports is definitely going to be smart for them now.
Yeah.
But eventually you need to go in for engagements just to gather those kill points. So hopefully when they do go inside of the circle, they position themselves well enough to go up against a team. But that's the takeaway for this one.
Yeah.
You're going up against teams who are already in position. So it's a risky play.
The players of Ego Oblivions have got a great flanking position onto script shots, but the problem here is script shots, they have got the vantage point. They've got the bird's eye view. So regardless of where you flank them from, you might just get caught out. So Ego Oblivions just needs to move very, very carefully. Players of Hard to Get, on the other hand, just evading the danger zone. But, even as they will continue to move on through, it doesn't seem like they want to aggress way too far on to this matchup. They want to find those 13 points and they want to manage to get over Do Easy, find a third placement for themselves. But Do Easy still alive and kicking. The only ones who can backstab now is the players of Orange Esports, but that doesn't seem to be a viable situation. Eastern Wolves gang will be picking up the zipline, most probably traveling in towards Central. Perhaps that will be the spot where they meet Do Easy, just to make it a little bit easier for the players of Hard to Get later on, who are on the opposite side.
Well, taking a look at the map right now, Beta Esports is going to be in a prime position to go and say hello to H2G. So Hard to Get might have a little bit of competition going into the circle. And not only that, they have to go and adjust because the circle is not going to be in their favor. So Orange Esports just slowly passes by Do Easy right now, so sneaky for them. And now for Jabat, he might be in trouble because they're in the sidelines.
Yeah, trigger discipline by Do Easy. And this is one of the main reasons as to why they are one of the top flight teams in the MCP Major Season 3. You don't simply start firing at people when you cannot secure the victory for your squad. You do not put them in danger because when you open fire, you just do not know exactly who's going to be firing back. You don't know exactly what the position of the third parties are. But of course, as those right decisions are made, a little bit of a bad decision on the side of Ego Oblivions continues to punish them. They hold the flank position, but not much of that information. Bloody Heads closing the distance between themselves as well as Hard to Get, but Hard to Get already positioned. Look at them, each player holding on to a tree trunk, and they pull the flank around the bridge. Bloody Heads in a lot of trouble right now.
Hard to Get, going in there very aggressively. Tree Trunks doing such a great job at holding cover. And not only that, they get to have high ground as well as two players throw in the bomb. Insane, really insane grenade, but doesn't really quite do much damage, but does get spotted. At the moment, Morgana throws a nade of his own, and now that's going to be very good for them. Bloody Heads still holding up really well.
Bloody Heads now punishing Shadow. Hard to Get in a lot of trouble as Bloody Heads, they are the aggressors in this situation. They were being preyed upon, but they've turned the whole situation all right round. 3v2 now. Shadow as well as Ares. Ares about to get taken down. One more shot should do the trick, but Kaloy instead gets knocked down onto the ground. Ares doing a lot with such little HP left on himself. Ares and Shadow shut down Bloody Heads. What a play. Hard to Get still in for the play for the third spot.
But no, we can see Vayter Esports really just wants to go in third party that whole competition. And that is probably one of the best entryways to go and get those points. And now H2G with a very hot competition going up against Bloody Head. They need to go and win this battle.
McRory catches Insane, but a good glue wall by Insane right in front of him. Finds that cover, but a little bit too exposed from the left-hand side. McRory with a good grenade, but the backup from Forbid's just absolutely perfect as Vayter Esports finds Insane, shuts him down, and the players of Vayter Esports, 3 kills in hand so far. They are one of those who are trying to climb up the leaderboards little by little as well, from the 14th into the 8th spot, and they want to go up slightly higher. Eastern Wolfsgang taking the fight up against the players of Orange Esports, holding on to the edge of this safe zone. The rest of their players in a little bit too far away. Goku now finds Kaizen, the final player Manchai. Can he play a game of survival and bring the rest of the players in? They desperately need it, but I feel like it might just be a little too late with the position that he holds on to.
Manchai holding on for dear life. He is the lifeline of his team, and placement points definitely into the bigger picture. Now H2G, they just need to go and regroup, and it's a good thing for them that everyone else from his team is going to be far away. Now Vayter Esports taking just a little bit of damage. They need to go in there very early into the center. Script shots looking very solid into the very center.
Do Easy might be in the best spot to eliminate the final player from the side of Eastern Wolfsgang. As I say that, we spot Spade, but shots towards Spade as well. Manchai fires back. He has got the LMG in the name of Cord, but that's not going to be enough to take on 4 players at the same time. And the AC-80 will be the MVP in this situation. Double shot, extra damage. Do Easy picks up an easy kill, but that's the first one for themselves. They are trying to play hard to get in terms of moving up the leaderboards, and with hard to get still alive and kicking out there, Too Easy needs to do slightly better than that 1 kill.
Orange Esports, they're going to be looking in for the kill, trying to get that information. ITX, Tactical Intex, maybe they can go win this, but I feel like they're just too spread out.
And if they can just regroup a little bit, they should be in a better position. But Orange Esports, they are not really using the positioning of Tactical Intex to their advantage. Instead, they try to collect more information with their vehicles, just zooming around left, right, and center. Let's see if or not that backfires against them. Tactical Intex keeping quiet, trigger discipline most definitely present here, Eve.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing they're not that engaging, and we can see Orange Esports wanting to take a lot of that, but then Jeff goes down. That is going to be very hard for Tactical Intex to go in, probably go and recover. And now one more goes down. That's the price that you pay for being a little bit too far away from all of your teammates.
Players of Orange Esports, finally they go in for the shutdown. Jabat with the charge buster manages to bust Ravana right open and continues to fire on against Shad. Decos, Jabat, all of them with the chase now as Shad tries to lead the rest of the players away from tactical index. But Ego Oblivion's just behind him, so even if Shad steps out of the defense behind the boulder, Jacob should be able to find the kill on him, and that will give Maisan the kill point. Tactical index taken out of the equation. A great advantage taken. Vete Esports still alive and kicking as Jay-Z now gets taken out by the zone. Hard to get is put out of the equation. Vete Esports, a long flank around towards the next zone. Script shots just making it a little hard for them alongside Do Easy.
Dang, Vete Esports doing such an amazing job at taking out Hard to Get. They were basically chasing them from so far away. And now, not only that, they are already positioned really well going into that final circle. But guess who's waiting them across the bridge? Blacklist International. They might have a pretty hard time, but if they play this right, they might actually go in there. But with Ego Oblivion's right around the corner as well, Blacklist International in for a treat.
Yeah, absolutely. Good grenade coming through from Let's Go. The players of Vete Esports now need to hyper-focus onto Blacklist International together with the players of Ego Oblivions. A two-way fight now. Blacklist International takes on, Gods of RNG, helping Blacklist International, sending in the players of Orange Esports to take on Ego Oblivions, which now gives the opportunity for Blacklist now to focus only on Vete Esports. Daphne gets knocked down onto the ground, but no takedown just yet by McRory. Only one grenade in hand. He will not be able to pop off in his usual style, so he needs to double back and play a little bit of defense as well. Orange Esports now storms the front of the players of Ego Oblivions. One good flash freeze coming down, but that's not going to be enough to slow down the aggressors. Orange Esports now going in for a swim. AimJ knocked down onto the ground. Maisan as well as JC Jacob. They need to find the recovery with the charge buster now. But look at this. Blacklist International. They get their revenge and they take the backstab. Jacob taken out of the equation, stealing that kill away from Orange Esports. And now Blacklist International will be able to continue focusing on Orange Esports. But if Orange Esports fires back, Vete Esports can finish off Blacklist International. What a drama that's unfolding in front of us here, B.
I might have to disagree because Do Easy is in a really prime position to go in there for the backstab as well. But first, they need to go and take out script shots, which definitely they have a better vantage point. So if they can hold off on their own, it's either Do Easy or script shot that can go up against Blacklist International.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. But Do Easy holding on to such a far angle back. They're nowhere near towards the next zone. So, although I see exactly why you disagree, they are not in any great position or any spot to make a play towards the next zone. They have to go past script shots, and it doesn't seem like script shots wants to step out of their defenses. So Do Easy is kind of gridlocked at the position that they are standing in. Only Blacklist International have the advantage of the zone, and everybody's hyper-focused on them. Script shots now taking the shots against Do Easy, continuing to play that pressure play. Jomblo with the long-range engagement. Shahid with the farmers as well should be able to make sure Do Easy does not move on forward. But look at Do Easy. They don't want to move straight. They're moving straight towards the players of script shots so they can play a better viable shot against them. Lance knocks down Too Bad, and with the star player of Do Easy down on the ground, this looks a little bit bad for Do Easy.
And then Do Easy going down one, but then Baron also goes down as well. And now it's Xlands almost getting in there for that death. Pablo will be the only person left, but he's just waiting very quietly. The backstab is going to happen, and no one's looking. No one's looking from the side of script shots. It's all up to that one guy to go and make a difference, but then, unfortunately for him, he doesn't really quite get it, and Do Easy eliminated from the competition.
Do Easy taken out already. What is the state of Vete Esports? Right below this bridge, and the player of Orange Esports still alive and kicking Tom now. He has the Groza in hand, but can he even use it? All players attacking him. Groza not able to fire off, but Phoenix's own Groza puts an end to him. Two more teams left in the mix. 4v3. Vete Esports, 4 kills only in hand right now. Can they finish off Blacklist International? Cobra steps on fourth with a charge buster, pulls out the glue wall as well. Zapnu down onto the ground. 2 players taken out of the equation. Vete Esports, can they strike, and can they strike hard? McRory needs to charge up the grenade in his hands. 4 bits as well. finds the long shot away, gets taken down. McRory and Daymoon, one final player. It is the MVP of week 1, and he managed to get one shot. 2v1 still viable for Blacklist International to win in here, and the double grenade from the side of Phoenix. 34 HP left, and Day Esports gets taken out of the equation. How, Beef? How?
What? It was a 1v2 situation that they could have easily won. Phoenix is the only person left, and I am just speechless at how that happened. What happened to that one team member of Beta Esports under the bridge? Was he taken out of the zone?
Double grenade play by your MVP Phoenix. That's the reason why he was the highlight player of week 1, and it looks like he has just made the highlight reel for week 2 as well. What a play, Blacklist International, and what a way to secure the #1 spot yet again on the MCP Major Season 3 league stages.
Now, this makes me actually question, like, how many kills did Blacklist International have? Because yes, they did get the booyah, but I feel like Beta Esports had a little bit more kills than them.
Oh,
so,
no. They had less, very much lesser.
Very much less?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Blacklist, they held on to their spot, and Orange Esports, they took the backstep against whichever team that was there. Was it hard to get? I don't really recall right now, but as Blacklist was holding onto the bridge, they chipped into that fight, they got the kills off of them, and then Orange Esports kills fell into their hands as well. Vete Esports got taken out by Blacklist. They were just eating up players in that final zone, so this was a solid booyah for the side of Blacklist International. And the 2v1 situation at the end is just mind-blowing.
I want to watch the replay of that. Give it to us. And here we go. We're finally going to get to see what actually happened into that 1v2 situation. And slowly but surely, cameraman, we are to see it right now. There you go. 1v2 situation. And I just want to see what Phoenix actually does.
Grenade?
He throws one grenade over there.
Grenade?
McRory goes down to... Oh
what a
my
play.
God. The
What a play.
accuracy of this man.
Yeah. That's why he was the MVP of week #1. And like I said, picking up the highlight reel in week #2 as well. I will not be surprised if he hits a back-to-back. But on that point, let's welcome Danilee right back into the panel.
What a way to end the day. I mean, I wasn't expecting, okay, I mean, a grenade ending, fine, whatever. It's a really cool way to end the show, but I didn't expect it to be the literal last game, right? Just such an explosive ending to a fantastic week of Free Fire, right? But it's just, I feel bad for Vete. I thought that was supposed to be their game, right? That was supposed to be their booyah. It was supposed to be their moment of glory, and Blacklist were just like, oh gosh, I've hit the microphone at the same time. Literally,
that's what they did. They were like,
they literally
microphone everything.
They swiped the entire game away from Vete. I mean, Vete probably are okay in terms of the points department, but they would have appreciated those extra, I think, 3 points, right? The 3-point difference between first and second place. But oh wow, what a way to end the day.
And above and beyond everything else, just as they end week #2, they get the record of the most booyahs within the league stages. 5 now to their name, the most in comparison to any other team, and the maximum with Geek Fam as well as Do Easy's only 4. Blacklist International is, as usual, making a name for themselves.
In typical
Making a statement, right?
typical Blacklist fashion. But it does also reflect the team's overall play style. Like if we took a look at the points distribution that Blacklist have, it's just the team, they're just so good at guaranteeing an equilibrium between kills and placements. Whereas you take another team, for example, Geek Fam, that's a team that thrives off of kills, but placements can be a little bit shaky with that team. So it's just like Blacklist have found that perfect balance.
I feel it's the exact same thing that I've said for Vete Esports in comparison to Geek Fam as well. It's not like they can't find the placement points. I feel like Geek Fam does not want the placement points. They just want to force the issue on some of their drop zones here, and they're hyper-focusing on the kills because they just want to sharpen up the mechanical capabilities for the grand final. When we look at these top flight teams, it's not about the league stages at all. It's all about scouting. It's all about getting as much information, as much experience, taking on some of the skirmishes against these top flight teams before they meet at the grand finals. And I feel like GeekFam, even through all of that, is still sitting down in the number 2 spot, which just shows exactly how dominant they are in terms of a Free Fire squad.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a group thing as well, right? I mean, for the longest time, we've also said that, you know, the B versus C matchup really gets to them. Imagine that. Imagine the whole grouping wasn't an issue. I actually think GeekFam would be able to get maybe even 2, 3 more booyahs under their belt, but it's just the grouping is holding them back. But who knows? I'm very curious to see what's going to be happening in the upcoming shuffle, because that is happening next. So basically what's happened is we have concluded week 2's play, and that means we are at the halfway mark for these teams. And what that means is that these groupings are going to be shuffled. Yes, just as everyone figured out how to play against their group mates, they're going to be thrown into a completely different group with some brand new teams and maybe some old ones as well. But I'm curious to see who's going to be the biggest winner for this, because the shuffles, from what we've seen in the past, are absolutely random. They do not categorize these shuffles, or at least they don't evenly distribute them. It literally just feels like they pick numbers out of a hat and that's it.
But I kind of feel like Garena, although they keep it as random as possible, they do focus in trying to separate the top leaders of the leaderboards just to make sure they're not within the same group. It has happened in the past, but you know, the one team that I'm expecting the shuffle, the great shuffle to kind of benefit the most is Tactical Index. I think they've suffered enough within the first 2 weeks of the league stages.
Yeah, not too happy with their groupings. I mean, Beef, are there any shuffles that you're kind of looking forward to?
Oh, I'm really looking for Ego Oblivions, because out of everyone in Group C, I feel like they've had the most improvement, I guess. And they are at a spot where 10th is not going to be comfortable for them. So they need to go and have this change to go and pick up all of the points and maybe even, just maybe, reach into that top 5.
Now, speaking of top 5, it seems like this group standings are going to be ready in just a moment, but here are the standings for the match that just happened, and it looks like Blacklist are actually going to top the charts here with 21 points to their name, so they'll easily cruise their way back into first place after their performance for the past 2 rounds. VT Esports, very close to getting that booyah, but unfortunately not close enough. Will take home 16 points from the round. Orange Esports even showing up today. This one is a bit of a surprise, and it seems like today has been an Orange Esports day, as they also take home 15 points. Scriptshot's going to be ending the round with 14, Do Easy with 10, Bloody Heads with 6, Ego Oblivion and Hard to Get also sitting on 6, Tactical Intex with 4 points, E-Wolves Gang with 2, Trodak with 1, and Axis Esports unfortunately going to be ending their final game of the week with a 0. But I'm really curious to see what's going to be popping up next. The overall standings to see where all the teams are currently placed. And I think for obvious reasons, we all know who's going to be in first place. It's none other than Blacklist International with 347 total points. GeekFam sitting on 313, Do Easy with 275, Hard to Get with 259, and then Todak sitting in 5th place with 241. As we scoot on down to the bottom, because this is the one that I'm very excited about. So it seems so far that the teams from 11 and up are starting to get into pretty safe positions now, because Ego's Oblivion, they're a ways ahead from Icon. Whereas Icon, they are closely tailed by Axis Esports and Umbrella Reborn. So the gap's closing for some, whereas it's widening for others. And I think if you're Icon, you've got to be a little bit worried here, because we haven't really seen Icon be able to pull off any extra booyahs.
And it's just a little unfortunate for them, right? Because they started off the league stages with such flair, but they haven't been able to keep up with that sort of a promise that they showed us on day number 1. But it was kind of expected, because it was a huge improvement in comparison to the Free Fire Challenges Malaysia, where they were quite I guess, mid-ranking team overall on the leaderboards. They just seem to be getting hit a little bit harder at the MCP Major Season 3, which is expected. The Filipinos, apart from AKO Ligers, all seem to be doing so much better this time round. Ego Oblivions, Bloody Heads, surviving the top 12, with Vete Esports jumping up to the top as well. So that's really nice to see that 8th spot. But the Groza this time around really delivering for the side of Blacklist International. If in the game of Free Fire, you want to pick up a gun, and if you manage to pick up the Groza, you are in good hands already. Arguably the best gun right now in the game, as far as an assault rifle goes.
Yeah, as you can see with how Blacklist handled that last game, yes, I think you'd actually want to be grabbing that. But of course, with 2 players from Blacklist at the top, we also have VT Esports taking 3rd and 4th. So before we close the stream, unfortunately, there will be no more Free Fire for today. Here is the team data for our top 3 teams of the league currently. So Blacklist, once again, staying at the top of the charts, with Geek Fam unfortunately shifting to 2nd place and Do Easy sitting in 3rd. But even though Blacklist is sitting in 1st place, you can actually see that Geek Fam are the ones to be, I mean, they're far more aggressive than Blacklist.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone can disagree with this.
I mean, AJ said it a while ago, they focus more on the kills, and that's why they have so much damage already. But I feel like you do need to find that balance. That's the reason why Blacklist International does have more booyahs, does have more points, because not only do they focus on the kills, but they focus on the placements as well. But if you get to see Geek Fam just not only focus on the kills, that's where they really shine. But unfortunately today, they just couldn't get the kills and also the placement points.
Yeah.
We need to gauge here, right? Which is more difficult to find within a game of Free Fire? Is it kills or is it placements? As long as you're smart enough, placements are going to be easy to come by. And teams who have just thrived on the placement points, for example, like the Eastern Wolves gang, will play testament to that. But kills, on the other hand, you really need the mechanical capability. And that's exactly why I say Geek Fam's not really focusing on finding those placements for themselves. They're just going in there, sharpening their skills. And when they want to strike, just like Vete Esports, I know they will be able to strike hard. It's all in the league stages. And here's the exciting part. We are now just at the halfway point, exactly at the halfway point.
Exactly there. So thank you so much, AJ. I honestly love digging into your brain. Beef Mommy, do you have any final words before we close out the stream? Minus the little finger hearts.
So sad. I mean, like, English stream, thank you for having me, but I'll see you guys in the next week in the Tagalog stream. I'm gonna be that host.
Hey.
Miss you, Beef. I'll miss you.
We'll miss you. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you all next week.